narcissism, it can mutate and it can show up in different ways. When you start to look at how something functions, then it will tell you more so about like what's actually happening and what's going on.
What is whiteness, right? And why is it defined? It's often used, the usage is often like asymmetrical to blackness. For example, people would say, oh, Obama's black, right? He has a black father, but no one would say like, Obama's white, he has a white mother.
Yeah, because it speaks to like the experience, right? And I think that, in America, right, like when you're pulled over by the officer, when you're driving home, you are whatever the officer thinks that you are. I mean, look what's happening now, right? Like if you have an accent or if you speak another language, then you deserve whatever is coming to you. And it has to do with a certain type of experience that you're going to have in this country. It's not just about skin color. It's a social structure, and it organizes power.
Yeah, because I just suddenly noticed, because we used to get angry at these like Google and stuff where they went and made this mistake at one point where they brought out this image generator that was scolding people when they were trying to like print images of all white families. Whereas the people who wanted to print out all black families or all Asian families, they were able to print it out with no problem. But when we find out how the usage is asymmetrical and this whiteness thing has this exclusivity about it, and your mom has to be white, your dad has to be white, it's kind of like, oh, purity, oh, it's whiter than white. When it's like that, right? Once you try to say, oh, give me a thing, I want everything all white, I only want white people here, you often quickly sound, you can easily sound like a white supremacist more readily than a black person might if they had like an all-black party. Because of this exclusivity.
No, I get exactly what you're saying, but I think that that's something I've been thinking about recently, which is kind of interesting. Like, and this was just like something I saw online, so I don't know how like factually true this is, but people were asking like, what do non-Americans like about the United States of America the most, right? With everything that we have going on. A lot of people were saying black culture. They were saying that they like African-American culture. And, whiteness has like a long history of like extracting, of systematizing, of colonial, like, taking, like colonialists, like taking ownership of, assigning labels, assigning identity, like it has a long history of that. And I think like when you really kind of peel back, like what is whiteness? Not saying in a sense, because like I'll be interested, like if Andrew, if you would answer this or some other white people on the stage, like what ethnic traditions do you guys have as white people? Like what traditions that are rooted in maintaining community and connection, do you all have? Because like white people, when they came here and they kind of let go of their history, their Irish history, their Dutch history and all that, like they just signed up for this other social construct that doesn't really have anything to it other than the system itself and the power that it gives. So I would like to, if anyone would humor me with any white people on stage, like what traditions in your family that are, that you identify as like white, do you uphold, or are there?
Nah, man, it's all a social construct. I mean, just like totally detached from culture, It's exactly what you just said. I could literally just repeat everything you just said verbatim, and that would basically be.
You think there's such a thing as white culture?
But what about whiteness is unique to you? And also, then you also have to tell me like what culture that comes from in particular. Like, is it Dutch or is it Scottish? You know what I mean? Because those are cultures. Those are ethnicities. White is a social.
But isn't black also a social construct?
Raisins in your potato salad.
But what is black culture?
Yeah, there doesn't need to be a culture that this is white culture. There doesn't need to be that. Like, the fact that we have like that for black is almost like.
Well, I don't understand what the point is supposed to be. I mean, I'll agree.
Well, the difference is
It's difficult to speak of some coherent white culture, but I think that's also true of black culture.
well, the difference is right. Yes, being black is socially constructed, but it's not just a construct because it shaped real material conditions, right? Like you had slavery, you had segregation, you had exclusion, you had policing, you had wealth gaps, all things, right?
Yeah, but there's a bunch of people
right.
who are black who aren't going to fit under that umbrella.
What do you mean? Throughout different points? You mean like throughout different points in time in history? Like all black people who are black Americans at one point.
People like take the people who identify as black in the United States today. There's going to be a significant portion of them who don't identify or are related to the struggles you're bringing up right now.
What, you mean that those people are not related to them today?
No, I mean even historically they're not.
Like what group of people would you say, like, do you think that there were like a group of black people at one point who were never like treated a certain type of way because of the color of their skin? Like maybe in the 1960s there was like some black people who, maybe like, are you saying like there was a community of black people maybe somewhere, maybe in New York that was able to, just walk into the bar like everybody else and they didn't have the experience as somebody else who has the same color of like skin as they did? Like, what do you mean?
No, I'm saying today there are going to be a bunch of people who's never had that experience you're talking about.
Okay.
I agree in the 50s, if you were black, you probably were met like this. I'm just saying that's not going to be true of like all black people. Like if you're a Nigerian immigrant to the US and you came during the 90s or something, none of this like history of racism or institutional racism or segregation, that's not relevant. You know.
Yeah, but Nigerians
are not unified by that sort of experience.
No, and Nigerians they're not black Americans. So.
But they're black, right?
Yes, but.
So that's what I'm talking about. I didn't say black Americans, I said black.
Right.
I'm just saying the category you're carving out, as in you're saying, here's what is emblematic of a black person, or here's what is black culture, here's what unified black people, but that's not true of white people. I'm just saying the label black runs into the same kind of problems. As in, it's difficult to pin down what it is. You're not going to capture nearly as many people as you want with whatever like social strife or division or marginalization that you want to point to. Like in a similar way that there are a bunch of white people who have never enjoyed any privilege that you're going to, ascribe to white people as a result of benefiting from racism.
I don't know if that's apples to apples because part of if I can give the perspective of a black person who has been in rooms with, who's dealt with, had conversations with people who are immigrants, have friends who are immigrants, who are black immigrants, right? The difference in what you said, where like there are white people who don't enjoy the benefits of white privilege, like black Americans are keenly aware, not all of us, some of us, depending on our understanding of the topic, are keenly aware that immigrants are able to come here because they're able to enjoy the benefits of what black Americans were able to achieve through civil rights. Now, sometimes immigrants forget that, right? And then they end up, because they wanted to have a proximity towards whiteness for their own feelings of like success, also take a page out of the book of the narrative, the larger narrative, to stigmatize and to demonize the black experience. Not understanding that that's one of the only reasons that you're able to come here in the first place. So you do enjoy your privileges because of what black people were able to achieve here. Sometimes that credit isn't always given. But it
No. Sorry. I don't mean in no indirect way can any sort of privilege, like obviously, if any piece of the railroad or road or any infrastructure was built on the back of the economic output of slaves, everyone benefits from that today. Like that's not the way I mean. I mean like the kind of labels that you're using, black. You're saying, well, here's why we can't talk about white people, but here's how we can talk about black people. I'm saying the label black people, that category, is also going to run into those kinds of problems where there's just going to be a bunch of people unified under that label, or rather identified by others as that label, who aren't going to relate to any of the struggles you're bringing up. And so the category isn't nearly as cohesive as one might want it to be. What you're trying to do is do all this like social commentary.
So why do you think that?
I just wanted to say something real fast, if I may. I got a book coming out. It's called "White People Ain't Nothing But Light-Skinned Black People." Now, white people have melanin in them just like black people do. It's just white people have less melanin than what we call melanated dark-skinned people. Lighter people with less melanin is less melanin in the darker. So that concept right there, I went from being called the name of my culture to being called a color. And that white-black thing doesn't work no more in America right now. All that shit, that mindset that was back in the day, that shit is over with. There's no more, well, you're white and I'm black, especially in this country. Because everyone is chasing the same thing, trying to survive in this motherfucker. Now you gonna talk about the rich white people who's on that medium level rich.
Like there was a specific discussion happening. Can we, if you want to, you could address that. Like not like have your TED talk. This is not like.
Can you see no speak? No. I was going to say something, by the way, but topic.
Yeah, wait a minute. I'm gonna let my ear for right quick.
I think either Chris, one of the two Chris. Well, look, why don't we let Chris June go? Because
No, we're not
To respond.
I'm gonna go.
Are you sure?
My name is Tito. I'm the man.
I'll be done real fast.
Don't kick me out.
That when it comes down to the construct of race, we as human beings have been delusional by me calling you white.
Shut the fuck up, please. Can I go?
Out of here. You've been destroying other rooms. Somebody get him out of here, please.
No, we're talking about something and then you change.
Right, yeah. I'm trying to respond to.
We did already.
I'm trying to respond to.
Uncle Caleb, wrap up in 2 sentences and Chris June.
All right. So on that, I'm saying that
we don't want to get
might get him out of here, please. He's going to destroy the room, y'all. He did it already.
We'll take care of it if it does. Relax.
All right, so one thing I'm trying to say is this. When it comes down to the mindset of what we were brought into, if you look at my PTR, this is a real person. So ask me, is she white or black? Or is she someone with white and black skin? So at the end of the day, this concept of what we feel is what we think it is really not that. So the reality of it is that is a black and white person mixed in one from the visual aspect. But from a personal aspect, she's just a human being. I live my UFO.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can I
Go ahead.
No, wait, no, Chris June. I mean, that question from Bob was directed at him.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Let me let him respond to Chris, the other Chris people. Chris Lam.
I was trying to narrow down the difference, right? Like when you have a group of people who are organized solely for power, and then you have a group of people who are organized to not have power, right? How that adversity can reveal certain truths, certain wisdom, certain types of strategies when it comes to recognizing harm, when it comes to staying clear of harm, right, to survive. It can cause certain, manifestations of like how we behave, how we talk to each other, how we make food, those things like that. That actually, through those conditions, like they acculturate something that is very unique because the conditions that were given to them weren't necessarily for them to forge their own sense of identity, but rather this was the sense of cultural identity, of shared experiences that they were able to create in spite of those systems. So that creates something that's a little bit different. And so I just wanted to like draw a distinction there, because that's the only way that you kind of get an explanation for why like Black people tend to rally around a lot of the same issues, because there has been some shared common historical conditions. Maybe not everyone was slaves, but they felt segregated in some sense. Maybe not everybody was redlined, but people might have shared experiences of over-policing or friends who have been brutalized by police officers. Maybe not everyone has had employment discrimination, but there are plenty of communities where people were positioned similarly because of like their socioeconomic or their economic conditions. So there's still like a backflow of cohesion that I think ends up happening, where a lot of us have a shared cultural like perspective lens and even decisions. When you look at like the polling, the exit poll numbers, when it comes to certain candidates, Black people don't all support the same Black candidate. That we don't just vote for people just because they're Black. Apart from what people might think, because there was a Republican governor who was in Virginia who people were like all up arms about because Black people didn't support her, or there was the guy in Georgia a couple years ago who was Black and he was a Republican and the white was rallying behind him. Like there is a keen awareness that I think culturally Black people have, which is why you see numbers of like in the last election where it was like 93% of Black women voted for Kamala, 77 to or 80%, depending on where you look, of Black men voted for Kamala Harris. And I think it's a certain moral like clarity around a lot of the issues that we see white people kind of getting befuddled around, which is why a lot of them are like waking up and saying like, oh wow, like this person is like not good. And it's like, okay, but yeah, we've kind of been trying to give you the symptoms of.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know if you were speaking to Bob on big problem, but I can even tell my there's this background noise thing. During your discussion, just white privilege was mentioned, and I think Bob was kind of like saying that, there's some white people that don't have white privilege or something like. Well, I don't know the textbook definition of the white privilege. I haven't studied it, but the way I understand it, I imagine it. Maybe I'm wrong, but what I've been imagining is it's not just about money, being rich, because if that's what you're saying, of course they're like poor white people, of course. But if it's the kind of thing that happens where sometimes a Black man is just standing at the bus stop or he's standing there too long and a white lady calls the police on him, you have white privilege because that wouldn't happen to you. So those kind of things, the way the police treat them, so even if you are poor as anything, if you're white, you wouldn't have those experiences. That's white privilege. That's what I imagine it to be. It's not about you being rich. So as far as from that point, any white person has white privilege.
I think the issue comes when like people confuse white privilege with the idea that somehow that means like there's some hierarchy of oppression or whatever, where like being white just automatically means you're at the top in every situation, right? Like it's like every Black person is more oppressed than every white person or something. I mean, that's not.
Well, it just means that you're not oppressed for being white. Like there's different. You can be oppressed for being short. Like it could be for being short, right? Like it could be for the type of clothes that you have, but it's not going to be for being white. Like, for instance, right, like a good example, so I'm tall, right? So I have maybe tall privilege, right? But like, people might discriminate against me for a lot of different things, but when it comes to height-related things, it won't be because I'm tall, right? That's a privilege that I had.
Sorry to say, but I wonder why, because I don't know what people are thinking, why they always push back on it. I say, oh, it's not true, because some people go extreme and actually claim that these don't happen, that black and white are treated equally by police, or you can't back up the numbers, and stuff like that. That's the kind of person I expect to be pushing back on the white privilege thing, and it's going to look absurd. Because if you do that, it's like deny that there's like worse treatment. Just think about that kind of thing where like you got police calls on them because they saw them there. So black people know their hands in this area. What's this man doing there? Call police on him. Like white, as long as you're not like maybe like, I don't know how you would have to look like, but it wouldn't be because of your color. If a white person got police calls and then they must have had something else. Maybe they saw them with tools for burglary or something like that. You would need something else. But some other people, all they just need is their color.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling that probably quote-unquote white privilege disappears at the very bottom of the socio-economic ladder, right? Like some kind of homeless, deadbeat, completely like scruffy-looking white person is probably going to be treated about the same as the same person.
I have a study that would push back on that. I forget the name of it, but it was a study done in 2003 that looked at job applicants and saw that white people with a felony record are equivalent, actually they do a little bit better in job applications than a black person with no felony record. So
yeah, okay, well that is interesting, but it's still not quite like I was talking about, like literally homeless people, right? Not even like attempting to look for jobs, right? Like they might be, they have drug problems. They're not even ready for work. They're not like at that point, like.
But who really?
Maybe I'm just wrong about this, but like you're like they're both going to be like black or white. They're just going to be treated like shit.
Well, yeah, but that's in relation to what, right? That's like saying, like,
but then there's no environment to like, because of something else, maybe like, if you come in rags or something like that, and you're trying to like sit in a restaurant that's for like distinguished guests or something like that, and you came in rags, now it wouldn't really matter anymore if you were black or white, because the reason why you're being kicked out of the restaurant is because of how you presented. But like you have like a well-dressed black man who is not like looking like a rogue, and some lady just said, oh, there's a black man there, like I think he might be a thief, right? It's unlikely to happen to a white person unless they have to be mistaken for a waiter. But a black person, all you need is your color.
I mean, it's not just in that kind of situation, right? Very specific one where they would like walked into like a fine dining restaurant where you would expect to put like, it's like I think across the board they just treat like like homeless people, like who just are like dirty looking and stuff. They're just treated like shit, right? I mean, everybody. Yeah. It's like
I'm agreeing with you, but it doesn't do nothing to your point of. I don't know what side you're on arguing this. I'm a bit confused.
No. Look, I don't know why I brought. Like, it was just like I'm just saying that's like this is like at most like 5. I'm talking about like 5% population. It's not really.
Yeah, but the thing is, now it's clear that it's not because of their color, so it does nothing to the argument. That's why I was backing you. Like, if you are in rags, right, and you're not, and you want nice looking people in the restaurants, it wouldn't matter whether you're black or white, you wouldn't be allowed in there, but not because of color, it's because of the rags. So
yeah, but like, but like in the felony case or the job applicants with felony case example, right? Like, arguably, like you could probably show data. You could probably have data that shows that black people with felonies on the record are more discriminated against, right, in like job applications than white people are. right? So that would be an example of white privilege. Right? But I'm saying, like, once you get to the very bottom, like, it's not going to be much distinction. That's all. It's a great mind.
It's only if you interpreted privilege in that other way that I don't like, and maybe that's the academic way. The other way that I don't like, that they expect you to, like, white privilege means you should be prosperous, so that you could be in rags as well.
I think, well, even in that sense, right? Like, let's just say somebody is
say that, the colored person.
I would
You better, like, be careful. Like, you won't have that. You could have something else. You can have something about your rights, but not about your color.
I mean, here's the thing, right? Even if it was like in America, right? Say we went with that example where you have like the most rundown of people, and now they're just both in rags. Only one of them is going to engage in the American society with a darker color skin, but with a Eurocentric presentation, and they have to be able to communicate in that way, right? Like, there is a certain privilege in the fact that minorities, black people know, you have to be able to communicate the way that the status quo communicates. And you have to understand, like, you gotta know all the lyrics of the national anthem. You don't have to know, white people don't have to know all the lyrics of the black national anthem. They don't have to understand anything about the black experience. They don't have to take an African American studies class to get a degree in a position where they actually dictate the decisions around black lives. They don't have to do those things, right? That's a privilege within itself. But for a black person who's already in a society, presenting in a Eurocentric way, participating in that society, they have to be keenly aware not only of their own experiences, hopefully, but also the society at large. And so even in a situation where you break all of that down, right, and now it's just a matter of like just communicating. You already have one person in that group who already has to transcend everything that they've already been through to meet that person in the socially accepted like standard. It's kind of,
it is late in Europe. I don't know. Bob might have gone to sleep. He's not responding anymore.
I haven't noticed too many white people get excited about conversations around whiteness either.
I was really getting on to like Google before, right? Like, well, how could they do this thing where they went and did these images that was like scolding people for trying to print out all white family? But now, when I thought about it, how Obama is black, at least partially because he has a black father, but no one's gonna say he's white, even though he has a white mother. It's so asymmetrical. Like an exclusive, the whiteness thing, and that's what's causing all the tiptoeing around it, because the way it's exclusive, if you're saying, oh, print me an all-white family, it starts looking crazy. And some white people start feeling like discriminated against that, oh, the black family is allowed to say, oh, that I want all black family photo be printed. But when a white person tries to say, I want all white family, he's thinking, oh, are you sure you're not white supremacist and they feel hard done by it? But if Obama's not white, then what we're defining here is a little asymmetrical, and that's why you have that asymmetrical treatment. Because it's exclusive and it's very, very easily goes into, what's the word? The white supremacy thing. It can more easily go into that than black can go into black supremacy. Very quickly it can go into that. The exclusivity nature of it. Mother and father has to be white. Everything, but everything white people.
I think a lot of this, and it's kind of goes back to the identity discussion in general, has to do with this idea of and the culture discussion, like what distinguishes white culture from black culture, which is a hard question to answer. I think it has a lot to do with the concept of blackness, at least for the black American, being kind of like it's imposed by white America, whereas whiteness as a social construct is kind of self-imposed. And so they just result in different things. Because when you have an identity imposed on you, then you end up kind of creating culture around that.
Yeah, nice. I was also like noticing how it looks like in many contexts, black is almost synonymous with like non-white. Notice the people allowed to say the N-word, Oh, Mexican, you're okay. Oh, Brazilian, you're okay. Yeah, like if it's not white, you can say it. The non-white people are just banding together under like a pseudo-label black because the other side is exclusivist. Because even if you have a white mother or a white father, you may not be white. You have to have both. It's like, and because you would look non-white and other people would think that you do look like that, and any kind of discrimination being given to black people as a mixed race person, you would get that. Just because of, like, you look non-white, so the exclusivist nature of it it's why you're having this.
Well, this is the thing. It's like we kind of forget. Sometimes I think that like you didn't have capitalism, and then you had like it wasn't like people went to the store to pick out a type of like society that they wanted to build, and they were like, we have communism here, we have socialism, we have capitalism. Like, we're gonna pick capitalism off the shelf. Like, that's not how it went. It was like, we got these colonies here, we need people to do the work, right? Okay, so then you find some people, you bring them over, and then you're like, all right, now we got to be able to call them something. We have to like, on a psychological level, like capitalism was born out of racism as well. Like there is something that cannot be decoupled and is inextricably linked when it comes to like identity politic and capitalism, right? Black people being the first capital in this country are a huge reason as to why this country has become what it has become. And so when we're having a conversation around like whiteness, it's very difficult to have the conversation separate from the system itself because it's actually an effect of the system. They both work in tandem with each other. So it's not so much just it's institutional system, like it's a cultural ideology. And it's not only embedded and baked into to the Constitution, it's not only baked into like the institutions themselves, right? The policies. I think part of the problem is that it has only been enacted from a policy standpoint, right? When it comes to like fair housing practices, when it comes to DEI, when it comes to like all of the civil rights like amendments and policies and stuff, like enacted in like an institutional setting, it hasn't like been embedded culturally, educationally, and like how we discuss racism and how we discuss identity, power, and psychology. And so like the forces of that ideology, they've just been like muted, but they still exist. And so to dismantle what's happening in this country is to also to work at dismantling the construct of white supremacy, which doesn't give me a lot of hope that we can do it by November. Because everything that's required in order for people to grow up are not timely or convenient. Empathy, never a timely or convenient thing. Responsibility doesn't care about time, doesn't care about convenience. The truth is never convenient. And so it's like, we got to just hurry up and do these things. Like, people are feeling like their sense of identity is being challenged. Because if this changes, then my whole worldview, my whole society, like the whole thing has to be challenged, it has to be changed. And so I think, like, in some ways, those wins that Black people were able to create, like, weren't complete wins because they only changed the laws in the books. They didn't change the logic of the populace.
You said by November was the midterms.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I suppose luckily enough, we don't really need for, I mean, it depends on what you're looking for, but it's probably going to be a blue sweep with or without the dismantlement of white supremacy. I mean, you know, just look at the reactions to the two, you know, white folk getting shot by ICE, you know.
Yeah, I hope so. I still hope so, because I feel like we're getting away from objective reality for a lot of different reasons, obviously, right? Like social media, and then there's this new narrative now that, like, and I live in Fulton County. Don't dox me, that's not my real name. But I live in Fulton County, and, you know, they came and took those ballots, and then they found out that, like, there were, like, all these pre-filled ballots that Elon Musk had done. It's just like, okay, so how much of the election was actually corrupted? You know, and, like, is that going to be a factor? Is the playbook already, did Elon leave the playbook on the table for the next person? So those are some of the things that make me just say, I hope I'm wrong, I really do.
No, I feel you. You've got every reason to be nervous about whether or not our democracy actually works. I mean, one thing I do think about is, because I've had this exact, you know, I've thought about this hypothetical of, you know, what if they do win? And I think that it's like, there are so many people who have so little expectation of the right wing doing well in the midterms. You know, the right wing themselves are scared very clearly that if something does happen, I think it will shift people's perspectives in a really big way. Like if it doesn't end up being a blue wave. Not that that's like a positive.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that, like, a lot of people's, the last faith that they have, this is what I'm saying, a lot of people, the last faith that they have rides on this midterms. And if the midterms doesn't go the way that they want it to, all of their faith in our system will be complete.
Yeah, I'm kind of there and trying to embrace it more so as like a just facing reality thing instead of like a being negative type thing. You know what I mean? I think that there's just comes a point sometimes where you just say, hey, you know, it didn't work. So you can start to make decisions in a different way. You know, kind of the reflection and processing now and taking a look at like how easily a lot of the wins that, you know, Black people were able to do, that helped to write the principles, right side the principles that this country aimed for, you know, was a huge part. But like the fact that they have in such a short period of time been easily like erased or diminished or stigmatized, to me shows that like the system that we're trying to save wasn't designed to stave off white supremacy. It was designed only to manage it. And like the type of change that we really need, I think it's like you don't even recognize what's flammable till it starts burning. And then it's like, okay, well that needs to go too, because we need to get rid of everything that's flammable in the sense of like toxic and exploitative and racist and bigoted and misogynistic things, you know what I mean? Like, they've gotta go. And we also have to learn how to recognize those things, so that we can make sure that we're not participating in them, because then it's like, you know, we're not actually better than the thing that we're trying to fight for. So, you know, we've got our work cut out for us, but
I mean, maybe this idea has no credence. I just have this worry that we're a doomed species, that you know, all of this shit is just inherent to us, which maybe that's not true. That's just an anxiety I have, but it is like something I think about frequently.
Why do you think we're doomed?
Well, I mean, I suppose that when I say doomed, it's kind of a vague thing. I mean, like, we're doomed to keep repeating the same failures.
here's
What failures are we repeating?
What? I'm sorry?
What failures do you think we're repeating?
Like, xenophobia would be probably the biggest one. I could think of other examples. Selfishness. Like, I just think that there's certain stuff that may be baked into us biologically, and the idea that we would get through that, it just seems really tough to me. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm actually not making an argument. I'm just pointing to something that I think about as being maybe something that's inherent.
I think part of the issue is, like, we keep getting exploited by the very things, like the very parts of us as human beings that we need to have discipline around, in order to really have real freedom, right? Like, you can't just eat anything you want to eat. You can't just, like, you know, be all on social media all the time, like, and not be harmful. Like, we have to have some, like, boundaries, and these platforms, these powers that be, don't want us to have those things. And there's something that, like, is inherently human about that, right? Like, there is some form of validation that we want to have. I was just saying to, well, actually, I was venting on Threads about it, but it was something I would say to a friend in person if the thought came at the same time. But it's like, people get online and we talk about social issues online, but then we ghost people in real life. Like, we talk about fixing problems, you know, in our communities, and we don't even talk to our neighbors. It's like, you know, like, the need is there. I think we recognize, like, there is a deep-seated need as human beings that we want to accomplish these things. We want to show up in the world that way. But I think there is a blindness to the symbiosis that we have with, like, technology and social media and things that are, like, continuing to pull us apart from, like, placing that virtue, that connection into the right places. And I think in that way, like, that is making us, like, is contributing to this feeling of dehumanization. Because now it's not really about, like, really the connection that we're supposed to experience as human beings, but it's about, like, being productive. It's about your insights and your figures, pinging people in the room. It's about status. How many followers do you have? You know, this idea of being, like, productive and of getting things done. But if that's the only thing that we value is being labor, you know, focused and productive, then it makes humanity itself expendable, because we don't need in 2026 human beings, or fully realized human beings, you know, or human beings at all, to still be productive.
Hey, bro, you talking about real human beings, not half human beings, right?
I mean, like, every level, right? You have people who are not, like, fully realized human beings, right? They're just cogs and they just go along, they get along. They're still loyal to dysfunction, right? Like they still operate base level animal instincts based on constructs. Then you have people who are like, then you got like AI, you got AI agents and stuff like that are taking jobs and stuff. And at the end of the day, they're still putting money in somebody's pocket, but they're not necessarily elevating the human condition. And for people who are doing that, that is revealed by the fact they're not elevating their own. So it's like we don't have a sense of humanity in this country that is internally coherent. And a lot of the ways that we live in society is actually disruptive to our family, to our mental, to our psyche, to our emotions, to all these things. And I think that is what causes us to feel like this sense of doom. But I don't really think it's like human beings like themselves. I think it's that these power structures that we can't imagine beyond, and we have too much apathy, and like it just becomes so like weakened to comfort that we won't actually challenge them. When it's like it's these powers that be that are trying, that one is.
No time is now, bro, to challenge them. Why is you steady keep being afraid to fucking challenge them? If your father said, hey, stay the fuck away from there, why is you still trying to be friends with after you seen what the fuck they been doing by how many thousands of years? Right, so what the fuck is you scared to say? Hey, we don't need to be a part of y'all. Y'all laws do not fit us in America. These is not American laws. What you afraid to talk for? That's some crazy ass shit, man.
I agree with
you. Want to work you with your enemy, your ancestors, oppressors, and their children. Why is you making children with monkeys? People who eat human. Yeah. Who lie, steal, kill, and destroy. Why do you want to keep be friends and love them? You don't think God really love everybody?
Are you asking me this?
They wouldn't be doing what they doing.
Are you asking me this, or are you just saying this?
Yeah, I'm asking anybody that know. Why would you want to love your enemies like they don't friends, like they don't presents? You see, they say they come from monkeys. Look at my screen.
Yeah, Woo, I got you, brother. Woo is basically saying, Chris, why are you hanging out with monkeys?
Like, why?
And why are you okay with monkeys eating people or eating other monkeys? Why are you okay with that? Why do you hang out with them? Why do you think it's okay? That's his question. I think it's a fair question.
You gotta look at my PTR. Black folks don't come from monkeys. Look at my PTR.
That's a good
Black people come from monkeys.
But Woo, you're dropping a lot of knowledge, brother. We're gonna give Mike and Chris and other people a chance to respond to you because you drop truth when you come on stage, and I think that you can't dose people too heavy. It's like a fire hydrant. You know what I mean? You gotta let them.
I'm just saying. I just don't see no black folk come from monkeys. So when you say other monkeys, or unless y'all talking about white folks, because I don't see no black folks coming from monkeys. That's all.
No, I agree with you. It's the white folks, basically. But Chris, why do you support white monkeys that eat each other? And then Mike, you can get in there too. But go ahead, Chris.
Well, I don't think people are as monkeys and people who eat each other and stuff like that. It's just interesting you came off the mic to kind of shake that up, Andrew. What about that got you going there?
Woo's I stand up for truth when I hear it, Chris. I'm not saying I didn't get to hear some of the other truth that was being spoken, but when I hear Woo come in with the heavy truth bombs, I kind of want to give a support to him. Are you opposed to that, or is that okay?
Sure, if we must. I'm just on an app, just working out my own humanity, my ideas like the next person. I can't control who's in the room. So.
Well, let's give Mike a chance to pop in there, and then Sage wants to come in. Looks like. Mike, do you want to deal with the white monkeys eating each other? What do you want to say to that?
Oh, well, I mean, look, we could talk to Woo for a little bit, but I really wanted to, we could talk to Woo for a little bit, but I wanted to get to what Chris and Sage were discussing earlier. I had a lot to say to that, but Woo, I mean, the cannibalism thing, eating humans, there are some civilizations and cultures in the world that actually still practice cannibalism openly. And you can go ahead and take some time to look up those cultures and those civilizations.
Yeah, I don't need to look up now, bro. Don't tell me to look up. I know. Leave them alone, what they do over there. And go let them do what they do. That's your problem, y'all. Man, other people's houses and homeland messing with them.
Humans, we're talking about the humans.
I don't care what you're trying to say, human. Let them see. That's that island right there. That island, they said stay the fuck up, but otherwise you come on their island, they gonna kill your ass. And you mad at them, leave them alone.
What do they look like, though?
It don't matter. Well, I know you're not supposed to be mixing with people and saying God love everybody. We are all created in God's image. If we was created in God's image, why did y'all scientists say that we evolved from monkeys? Then we come and look at it, it's a white man coming from a monkey. Now, if I put my skin tone towards the earth, the dust, mud, I look just like that. I believe what God said versus what a man said, white man at that. You see what I'm saying? So now you have two distinctions. You got I's word versus a white man telling us thing like it's okay. That's why y'all mess with kids. Y'all gonna teach kids bullshit and make them think it's okay. But that's why y'all don't want them to talk to their parents or be around their parents. That's why you kill the father and enslave the mother and her children, right? You befriend the father, make it seem like y'all cool, it's okay, but then you call him a monkey. But then we come down and see, he's not a monkey, you're a monkey. So all this time you played friend with him, but you really wanted to kill him for his lifestyle, his land, everything that he got. Probably because he's smarter than you, right? He can break shit down and rebuild it. And you don't want him to do that because then he's going to teach his children, his sons, and his sons are going to do the same thing, right? Yeah. So we can't have it. We gotta get them. We gotta get him out the way. Remember how they did Jesus? They got him out the way. Why? Because he was turning his people right in front of everybody's eyes, right back to the truth. Yes, sounds familiar, don't it? He told the truth, did the truth, and showed the truth. What y'all do? Y'all paid a young black man, go over and tell us where he at. What? Now let's talk about that, white man. Since we want to talk to him, I like the truth, I hate bullshit. Let's wait.
I'm not a monkey, I'm an ape. Just want to say that.
I thought they still come from the same ape, monkey, chimpanzee, I don't care what it is, orangutan, I thought they were still the same primates. I guess it is different by size and whatever, but they still got 5 hands though, right? 5 feet, yeah. Still look humanoid, but they're not human though, right? Oh, okay. But I remember hearing back in the days, a white man taking monkey bloodline and injecting himself with it. Yeah.
I think I come from a lemur.
Let's see that. Y'all go ahead, I'll let you talk.
I mean, I think that the only reason that like white people sometimes they get uncomfortable with like the fact that there is a history of white people like eating black people and stuff like that, it's just because like they're not personally clear on whether like they participated in that system somehow, or maybe their own history and they don't know it. Because like I think similarly for me, like I hear a lot of arguments around like men and how men are and like what men do and stuff like that. And I'm a man, but it doesn't bother me. I don't care. Like I'm not talking about me. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe at one point in time, I wasn't aware of certain things, like maybe mansplaining or like, just certain things that maybe I was doing, but it doesn't bother me. So I don't know why. Sometimes I see a couple, like every once in a while, it's not a lot, of white people who are like, yeah, I can see the problem with whiteness, or I can see the problem with white supremacy, or I can acknowledge those things. But it's very rare. You don't see a whole lot of them. I think a lot of them are just still not 100% clear on their role, because they haven't like done that work that I think frees you up to be able to face some of those things. And there's a personal journey.
You say like do the work to hate myself.
No, but like to make sure that you're not living based on assumptions, right? That you interrogate the assumptions that were given to you, and making sure that you're not operating from some social mythology.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, it's an interesting point, Chris. Sorry, we got colds running around here in Calgary, but it's an interesting point. I think a lot of people question, like, to what degree should the individual person be held responsible to the things other. And so I think about that principle.
Well, we lost you. You said what? It didn't.
Okay. So the basic question, the philosophical, like overall question that I think Chris is putting out here is this idea: to what degree does an individual person have responsibility over themselves and their autonomy, and then also should they take any responsibility, and to what degree should they take responsibility for the actions of other people in their in-group? So Chris, from his picture, I'm assuming that is an African, maybe American, I don't know, I'm just guessing here, but let's just say, for argument's sake, that's the fact, right? Just for argument's sake. Now, some people within the group of African Americans do bad things. To what degree should Chris be held responsible for their actions, or should he not be held responsible for their actions? Conversely, for the Chinese person, or for the white person, or for the Mexican person. So we all operate as individuals at one level, and then we have self-identification, and then we have the identifications other people throw on us. Is that kind of like the you're trying to navigate, Chris?
We can go with it for a bit, but then I'm gonna let you get your thought all the way out, and then.
So now it's not fair, if a black person did something wrong to me or to someone else, that I should associate them in any way with you. Just as the same thing, my father is not a good man. He hurt a lot of people, and I come from a small town. And there were some people in that small town that got to know me for me, and they realized how vastly different I am from my father. And never once in my life had I ever tried to stick up for the stupid and idiotic things people in my family did. Okay, criminal or violent things, anything otherwise, because I'm a different person. Now, me thinking of myself as an individual, I free myself up from that. Nor at the same time I would ever defend anything, any horrific thing that my father or anybody related to me or just happens to look like me does. So I'm white, I would never defend any person in the past that enslaved people or whatever and whatnot other crimes. Just in the same way, I would not want to anybody stereotype or generalize against you because they may have had a bad experience with African Americans. So I'll land with that.
This is the father thing, right? That's what he's talking about. I mean, you're actually a living example of it. Right? No one should have to pay for the sins of their father.
Oh, quite literally, right? Because
you're like
here's the thing. If you defend your father and you feel like you have an honor or some kind of, magical tie to the actions of people that you're related to, that stops you from thinking of yourself as an individual, and it stops you from acting as an individual when you defend people in your own in-group, right? I couldn't give a fuck if everybody in my in-group ever did anything bad. I'm never going to defend them.
Okay, so how does this logic work when, say, you're looking at a group of people? Are you just looking at the people for like how they show up? Let me finish.
Right.
Are you looking at like how they show up at one point in time, or are you going to try and look at like some history, politics, maybe culture? Are you going to look at things that transcend that moment in time, or are you only going to look at like just them as a snapshot in time?
So I do. Now I'm Slovak, right, Chris? My family comes from Slovakia, and it did horrendous things to the Slovaks as well as the Ukrainians. And I mean, all in all, I can't blame Ukrainians for absolutely despising Russians, because as far as I understand, the vast majority of Russians are kind of rolling with what Putin is saying. There's a lot of good people there that don't like it, right? But I'm speaking to my ideals. So my ideals is, if I met a Russian person, I would do my very best to try to look at them as an individual and not make assumptions if I can. Because, you know, if people just keep holding grudges forever and ever, there's never going to be any peace in this world, ever.
Well, I think the reason I gave the example that I did was that we were assuming that the only thing that can be held is a grudge, right? There are other things that stick to people, right, that are not just grudges.
Of course.
Yes, so when we understand that, like, okay, the way that other people or community or society or parenting styles, like the effects of being raised by emotionally unavailable parents, you know, the effects of growing up in an area that doesn't have access to this, that, and the third, right? How those things disproportionately affect people, right? You're still going to hold a certain probability based on some other factors and conditions that I think have to be looked at before you can just say, like, the same way that someone shouldn't have to pay for the sins of their father, that someone is not affected by the consequences of other people or the material harm that surrounds them. I mean, is that
I watched the mistake. Why y'all try to make it sound good, but at the same time, this is what I see. Y'all go to other people's countries and put them in jeopardy lifestyle, right? See, this the shit. Take that shit over Russia.
You're generalizing.
Take the, I'm saying, take that up with them. Don't bring that bullshit to a real American. We don't have shit to do with that. You talking about
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, don't put us in that shit. Let's talk about we need your help. Hey, they're trying to kill us. I don't give a fuck that shit up with them. Don't bring that shit over here with us. We don't have problems over here. We enjoy ourselves. We like to see ourselves grow. Enjoy our benefits of what we do. Why is you trying to bring us into your bullshit? Your bullshit tactic. That's what I see. When you play chess, you don't see black and white, white and black. You see black with black color and white with white veil.
Can you give an example of what you mean to say?
Do you know how to play chess?
No, bro, I'm just asking for an example just so it's clear in my mind.
I'm asking you a question. Do you know, you see the pieces on the board, chess, all colors is with the same color, right? You don't have black and white on one side, and you don't have white and black on the other side. You have color with color and white with white. So why are people today in this mind frame, why are you trying to mix race people, different races?
Okay, I see.
Right, why are you trying to mix different races? If that's what they do over in Africa, if that's what they do over there in Europe, let Europeans deal with Europeans. Let Africans deal with Africans. Let Americans deal with the real Americans. White folks is not American. You're a citizen. Really not even a citizen. Y'all still a new. Y'all really still a new.
Why? I think to grip on this idea a little bit, right? We can, like, just like, you know, like your chess analogy totally makes sense. So I think the same thing should be done with the genders too, right? Like, you know, all the men live in the western half of the country. And all the women can have the eastern half, right? Like, why should we allow gender mixing at all?
There goes stupidity right there. Why we can't have our women and y'all have y'all women? Why is y'all women trying to mix with us? And see, this that bullshit.
I'm just thinking the top one. Hey,
tactics, you know.
So there are people that feel the same way.
I'm so confused. Why not? Okay, here's another thing, right? Like, why don't we just separate adults and children, right? Keep the adults on one side, like on the north, and children on the south. Right?
Y'all see how that shit go? That's what I'm talking about. European bullshit. Let our kids be ours. We don't want y'all with us mixed in.
I agree. I'm not taking, but I'm not sure you understand. I'm just taking a chess analogy to the next level. In fact, we can go even further, right? Since we're basing all our decisions on the way chess works, right? Like, you know how in war right now, right? Like we have, you have your infantry, your tanks, and so on. And like in chess, right? Like, like the pawns are always in front, right? So let's just do the same thing with children. Next time we go to war, let's just take all our 5 and 6 year olds and just line them up in front, right? As cannon fodder, right?
No, take that. We don't need that shit in America. Take that bullshit schooling. We don't teach that to our children.
You've been teaching us about how everything. You've been teaching us about how like chess is like the way to think about these things, right?
Okay, here's where I'll build a bridge with what we're saying, right? Like in Western society, right, people prioritize logical, analytical ways of like thinking so much more, right, than other forms who have historically, walked into different. Somebody's off the mic is throwing me off. Somebody's off the mic, but like have gone into other countries, other communities. Other nations, written down, recorded that information, and then it becomes, held to a higher level or standard than like what is actually upheld culture and tradition, which has been like spoken language or dance or other things like that. Which is interesting because those are the very things that end up becoming appreciated, like from Black culture, are the things that weren't like, the standard that you had to be able to amount to, like certain type of way, whatever. So there is this myopic, small-minded kind of like, just view that kind of gets put over groups of people that actually are revealing more about who we are as human beings, revealing more about our humanity, but are not being appreciated because that's not the status quo standard per se.
So that was word salad to say, get your ignorant black ass out of here. White folk made the nation that you should be grateful, but you still being part of. Because quite frankly, people like you who are societal misfits and disturbances. Most places will ask security promptly upon you entering or nearing the proximity to leave.
Hey Chris, this is an interesting point. I've heard it before. This idea, like I get what you're saying, and actually, it would be better if we were chatting one-to-one in a smaller room. But I could probably talk on hours for this particular subject, bro. I just want to say that every single country and culture in this world is highly logical in their own way and very highly scientific. There was a kind of bump. But no, it's very true. And Mike, I could probably go on for hours about this, and it's kind of a complicated thing. But yeah, and I know I'm long-winded, but I guarantee you after 30 minutes I can convince you of my point, Mike. I promise you.
Yeah, but look, you're at the end of what you want to say, or
no. Scientific prowess, whatever cultural prowess, it changes and moves from country to country. Countries that 3,000 years ago were like top of the world and extremely sophisticated are now poor, and vice versa. And 1,000 years from now, it's going to change. Everything changes. It's not as though there's any like inherently superior or less superior scientific-minded people. There's no scientific evidence for this whatsoever. And if you know enough about history and trade routes and the effects of geography on the development of economies and the interlocution of ideals and anyway, so there's a lot of books that talk about this. Entire libraries could be filled with the subject. But anyways, Chris, no, I've heard like this kind of modern, postmodern, left liberal, whatever gender identity studies things, and they're very, 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 very inaccurate. I would look beyond those because, some of these fucking weird-ass leftist, far left professors, I remember seeing a conference in South Africa where this white dude went on the stage and he tried to tell his black students that, somehow it was a form of racism in the guise of cultural acceptance. Anyways, I could talk more about this later, Chris.
I think I was vibing with you today. You're like, well, this is like a leftist talking point. Because for me, I wasn't resourcing, a particular politic, just rather like a way of thinking, which I think you are too. But like that core criticism of like for me, core criticism of conservatism is that like it prioritizes preserving like existing structures, even when those structures produce inequality. And it does show up in logic, right? Like even in the conversation we were talking about like you shouldn't have to pay for the sins of your father. Okay, that's a logic, right? If we just like take out the variables and just look at the formula, like what are we actually saying, right? That assumes that, right?
That's the ideal, right? Yeah. My ideal. Yeah.
Yeah, like we're treating injustice as like a past action instead of like a present condition. That's essentially what the logic says. But then it doesn't become convenient when you take that logic and you apply it outside of, the group of people that disproportionately use that argument of like, why should I have to pay for the sins of my father, right? Like, why is my present condition
because
compounded in any way because of the decisions of other people?
Yeah, but that's the problem with narrative controls, right, rather than principles. Because if you apply that, it depends upon which group and who's stating that particular narrative, right? So, the racist sort of trope sort of thing is like, black people disproportionately commit more crimes than other people. And then if you apply that sins of the father thing, then it would be acted in the defense of trying to view African Americans as individuals and not as a mass, right? So, I get what you're saying, but your logic is dependent not on an ideal that's sort of structured across the board, equal for everybody. Let's all try to view one another as individuals as best as we can and try to view ourselves as individuals. But if you apply that logic from specific facets within a larger cultural context, it's just a matter of wrestling narratives. So wrestling narratives never prove out because either side can play that off of one another, right? They can blame the other, they can look at themselves as the victim, they can place the blame on the other one, and again, it just becomes a blame game. So there's a problem with that as well.
Yeah, it's never
Look, I think let's not get off track. I think Chris was. Yeah, I don't know. It seems to be attributing. So look, I don't know. I feel like you're imposing a blame on just the very system of epistemology that I guess has been developed mostly in the West to begin with, right? But I think it's honestly we should view it as a heritage of the world as a whole, right? When we talk about sort of an analytical approach to reasoning about the world, about what truth is and so on, I think there are places where it shouldn't be mindlessly applied, arts and culture, for example, are good examples. Right? There are places where other kinds of thinking than analytical are applicable, right? But when we're involved in the question of what is true, right? I think logic and so on has served us in good stead, and it's something that's a tool that should be available to all, not just based on what culture you're from.
No, you guys, we're getting off topic here. I think everyone can agree. Humans are humans. We all agree with that. Let's get back to the topic here. I want to ask Lou a question. Chris, feel free to answer.
Before we get back to whatever topic you wanted to get back to, include a different country,
what?
It sounded like you wanted to change the topic, so I was
the topic just got changed. You said we were getting off track.
Back on track, yeah. That's right.
He don't want to become his profile of sins. That's what he's trying to say.
The last thing I just wanted to say about this, because I think it's just important to really make this clear when people say we shouldn't have to pay for the sins of our father, and we're talking about logic, right? That you may not be personally guilty of past injustice, but if you live in a society that is where people are still affected by structural outcomes, then the issue, right, that we're talking about is not a matter of punishment. It's just about responsibility for present inequities, for you to be able to see why things are the way that they are. And it's not about just, paying for the past, but rather it's actually like uphold some of the other methods that I guess we hold to such a high ideal, such as like the scientific method or understanding context, understanding nuance, all the things that actually make us an intellectual society require for us to like dignify that the human experience is more than its snap judgment of what you see, right? That like there has been compounded experiences, whether even if those experiences were wealth or land or access or education or poverty, and all of this, all of the
But what does this have to do with like logic, right? Like logic is just like a system of like figuring out what's true, right? Like logic, empiricism, analytical thinking. They're tools you can use with like, you can have like very different premises, right? Like you can have some premise about like what it means to have to be responsible for something, right? Like whether, like under what conditions, like this.
I was just like interrogating why like a certain, like, okay, logic is like a system of rules that we use to determine whether like a reasoning makes sense or not. So that's why I was like interrogating the logic of that argument.
Okay, so you're not interrogating logic itself, like you're not like questioning.
No.
Well, Chris, to be specific, what I was saying is it's best for, so I feel my ideal is, like I was saying, do not defend, for me, it's personally, right? This is how I run my life. I would never defend someone within my own in-group that does anything bad, right? For me, that's a bad thing. A lot of people will do that. A lot of people feel emotional attachment to the people within their own in-group, and they will defend all the idiotic and dumbass things that quote-unquote their people do for some god-awful reason. I don't know why, right? I'm not going to defend them. And I think you took my father analogy kind of a bit too far, and it's my fault. I didn't express myself clearly enough. What I meant to say is, like, even if my dad did something stupid, I would never defend him. Now, I'm Slovak, right? So obviously my ancestry has absolutely nothing to do with anything in slavery in the Americas, because my folks were out in the mountains or whatever. And it's just very abstract for me and very strange for me to attribute, responsibility to people for things that their ancestors had done, hundreds of years ago, on a personal level, right, Chris? Like on a personal, like interior guilt sort of thing, or even a rational, like straightforward guilt thing. Now, at the same time, I do completely understand your argument, and I'm completely in line with you with the whole systemic racism thing. I'm up here in Canada, and I'm telling you, bro, like the Native Canadians have been treated like shit for a really long time. Horribly, horribly, horribly. And you can see the effects on it, right? So I'm with you there all the way. And again, what I'm saying, I think we're kind of in line with each other. What we're saying is like one way out of, systemic problems and trying to make the world better for everybody is to try to attempt to view ourselves as individuals. At least that's how I operate, right? Like,
let's move on to like Mike Allen wanted to say something, but.
No, yeah, appreciate it. I just wanted to bring it back here. So this whole white and black thing. Now, I want to ask you a question, and Chris, feel free to chime in here. You guys know who Crispus Attucks is, right? You guys have heard of the guy in the name Crispus Attucks? No. You guys, neither of you know who Crispus Attucks is?
Christopher Attucks.
I've never heard of him. I don't know what is this conversation about.
They're talking about the Native American they thought was black. I know you talk Crispus Attucks.
So they always mention Crispus Attucks as, they always say he's the first black guy killed before the Revolution, right? The Boston Massacre, right? Crispus Attucks. Now, this kind of hurts the contract. I can't believe you guys don't even know what I'm talking about. But the point is that everyone calls him, he was the first black guy killed. Now, what I would say to that is if you go look at the Boston Massacre Memorial, there's 5 people that were killed in the Boston Massacre. 5 people. No one knows the names of the other 4. The other 4 guys happen to be white guys. Everyone knows the name of Crispus Attucks. And the Boston Massacre Memorial, Crispus Attucks' name is the largest name, right? It's the biggest name. It's the largest written in the stone. And then there's 4 other people underneath him with the smallest name. People regulate Crispus Attucks to just some black guy who died. No, Crispus Attucks was an American. Crispus Attucks this whole black and white thing is uniquely American, but calling me white and calling, I'll use you for example, Chris, calling Chris black and calling me white are both insults, but it's uniquely American. It takes people's identity away from them. However, in the American way it happened, it kind of had to be done, right? And as a white person, an Italian immigrant and an Irish immigrant came here, and then they had a kid here. That kid's not Italian, the kid's not Irish, the kid has to be something. Now here we would say you're New York.
Not American, he's still Italian, bro. Don't try to use that.
But he's not, though. But
he's still listen, bro. I don't care how you want to.
No. See, and this is also what I was going to say to Wu and to Chris. If me and Wu go to any country in Europe, Wu is not a fucking black guy, and I'm not a white guy. We're both American. The same as if we go to any country in Africa. If me and Wu go to any country in Africa, we become American. And so what I want to say is
No, you do take on a different identity when you go to different places. That's 100%
It's not the thing that your identity.
It's not the same thing, but you do take on a different identity for sure.
Yeah, but
Like I'm getting
That's not what he's saying.
No, yeah.
I mean, you're gonna get a different experience, but whatever experience that you get is probably going to be shared with other people who look like you, and they're not going to be the same for white people as they are going to be for black people. That's just not.
Is there even a point
That's because black people earn that. They earn that consistently.
Anyone else? What's going on?
Black people earn that reputation consistently with a staunch effort. So you're absolutely right.
What's going on? Is Mark here?
Yeah, what's up?
And what the fuck is this convo about?
This is that white guilt bullshit that composes too much media in America.
Yeah, like I'm supposed to feel bad about.
Right.
You're just getting stream consciousness after stream consciousness.
Think about it. I think the reason why people feel bad is because they don't understand what role they play or if they play a role, and they haven't necessarily done anything. There's nothing wrong with anybody talking about their past lived emotional harm or like historical experience. There's nothing wrong with that, unless somebody is not sure of what role that they play in it. Then there's a problem. It's like I use the example of like. People have a lot of things to say about men. I'm a man. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me because I've interrogated the assumptions around why I show up in the world the way that I do. So I don't feel uncomfortable about it. I can actually acknowledge that, yeah, black men do have to work on some things. It doesn't make me a bad person.
What is going on here?
Okay, it's time. I'm not sure. I don't.
They can't.
The answer is nothing, Chris. And you shouldn't tell young black kids growing up in America that they're less than white people. It's just ridiculous.
No, it's just certain things that you have to be aware of. Like all of us, like black people were, not all of us, but a lot of us were taught like when you get pulled over by the police, like certain ways to behave. And
I guarantee.
Some of us feel.
I guarantee my father taught me the same thing that you and Wu.
Yes, but Mike, I can't dispute the fact that
That's some bullshit. That's what we're talking about. You cut him off just for you to be heard. That's that white person.
Yeah, I have immense white privilege. What are you gonna do about it?
I'm playing the monkey sound effect.
It's not about what are you going to do about it. I think it's like, here's the thing, right?
I meant to the other guy. Sorry.
I mean, the thing is like, okay.
You ask me what Ron stop killing white people. Don't give it to the fucking about y'all. Y'all laws is not a law. They're law, so I'll kill the land.
Okay, give us a summary, Grip.
Okay.
What is this conversation about?
Well,
It's about the rest of it, Bob.
Yeah.
It's about how you need to pay.
We don't have a fucking conversation about just sit there and listen and pay attention.
No idea, bro. No idea.
Is there
Like this idea,
I don't have the
Chris.
faintest clue.
This idea, Chris, you mentioned that you were taught differently about cops than what I guarantee you, my father taught me the exact same thing about cops your father did. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. You can tell me exactly what your father told you about how to interact with police officers, and I'll guarantee it's the exact same way my father told me. I promise you.
Well, I mean, we can just turn on the news now. We kind of can see the atmosphere, right, of like how this country has like neglected certain experiences that are now being, expanded to affect the larger population of people. And it's because when it comes to certain groups of people, not enough people get outraged and don't care to make certain changes, right? For instance, right now, a lot of people are walking around with their passports and their documentation and their birth certificates, right, to make sure that they can prove that they're Americans. Now, who was the first person who had to produce their birth certificate under this new administration?
What?
You're gonna lie and say black people.
Who was the first person?
All you need is your driver's license, your ID.
No, listen. The first person that had to do that was President Barack Obama, who had to produce his long-form birth certificate.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton started the birth movement. Hillary Clinton started the birth movement. That was Hillary Clinton who started it.
Okay.
You don't remember Hillary Clinton talking about the birthing thing?
This is the first time I've ever heard anyone say that, like, Hillary Clinton was responsible for the birth movement. I remember. I remember seeing Donald Trump talking about the fact that he's not born, in this country, and he's used a lot of like other.
I need to revise that. Actually, Barack Obama himself is responsible for the birther movement, given that he advertised himself for many years in Harvard publications as a Nigerian-born individual. So,
fucking lie.
Okay, wait.
Slam dunk.
As usual. Bob, you've been waiting for this. Okay, June.
Motherfuckers like that talk same.
Let me make sure I can read this. Okay, yeah, Jen said, Aberdeen-in-law, brother, you're one of the few that give kind of the pushback, against some of this, against some of the Trump derangement syndrome. So, what would you say that Trump is doing really good, John? Is that pretty Twitch keeping?
I'm a big fan of the war against Iran, possibly. I think that he really flubbed it when he didn't go in earlier, when he told the protesters that he would. I'm excited. I've been happy about the way that he's been doing immigration. I wish they were more aggressive. I wish that they would kind of squelch these protests out a little bit better. There's a number of things I've been very, very pleased with. I think they're moving at a fast clip, which I didn't expect them to be able to do. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think a lot of my critiques are. Yeah, I think a lot of the people are critiquing Trump are, obsessed with like the Epstein files and stuff. And
Can we do a quick fact check though? Can we just do a quick fact check because people are listening to people saying dumb stuff, and dumb stuff number one is that Hillary Clinton, at best what you could say is some of the staffers in her campaign in Iowa, Hillary Clinton has been joking about it. Clinton did in fact start as a matter of all people in the campaign.
You gotta let me start.
That's not true.
That's true.
He said some other dumb shit. He said Barack Obama said he was a Jared. Yes. First of all, that's completely dumb. That was twice as dumb because, probably he was referring to Kenya, right? Not Nigeria. Kenya. So that's like a warning sign of dumbness, right? And the other thing is sorry, man. Hello, you're wrong. Okay, and so Bob expounded on that in his book. No, he didn't. Yes, he had. Dreams of my fathers. He did fucking expound on it. I read it. What are you talking about? I can quote it. No, you're not listening, right? The point is the point isn't that he doesn't. Obviously, he Indian heritage.
States, right? His father was Kenyan, as everyone knows, right? The point is that this guy was saying that apparently he claimed in some sort of Harvard publication for that he was. Wait a second. This is like three.
A fact check means they're actually have facts. So if you're gonna refute,
Yes, I just looked it up. You sounded dumb, and guess what? You are dumb. It's not true. Right? You have facts. You can't just simply say it's not true. You were the one who made the claim.
What are you doing?
The best way to solve this stuff is block people like this.
The easiest.
Seriously. You block them and kick them out.
That's why you just call out his dumbness and move on, right? You don't actually engage with him on the issue.
It's not triggered. It's not being triggered. It's not being triggered. It's not people being triggered.
Whether it gets nailed down to the fact that it was
Deepak, I've been on this app for 5 years. I could have sworn I almost lost brain cells listening to people like that talk. Like the best thing to do is to just block them and kick them and keep it moving. Because if people don't want to have a conversation, they want to troll.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
It's not for those who've been on here for 5 years, and we understand the moderators get to decide what happens.
Joseph.
Gio's not trolling. He may be wrong, but he's not trolling.
Of course he is trolling. What do you mean?
There's an awful lot of literature that was released by publishers and the Harvard Law Review early on when he was the editor-in-chief, wherein as part of his credentials, and in fact he was trained as the first Kenyan-born
Prove it.
Link Harvard Law Review.
Prove it.
Link to it. Don't just say words. Link to it.
Okay, I'm working on it.
This is the thing, with this argument, right? Trump is not someone who, is changing America. He's someone who's revealing America because, what he was able to do was a distraction, not just because, just because Trump said it, but because so many people, because what is going on like that?
That's funny. You know, shut up first.
Hold on, let me finish my thought.
Let me finish my thought.
I was literally in the middle of talking. I didn't you got to off.
But the thing you got to ask
moderator, right?
Just let him finish. Literally said. Yeah. Did Obama's literary agent say he was born in Kenya in 1991? Literary promotional identified Barack Obama as having been born
Why can't anyone do this? Look, Chris was saying
the answer is in May 20th.
John, hold on.
Unserious pursuit.
So I wouldn't be surprised if the person who was reading that also supports a lot of the same policies that are happening today. Well, not even policies, but some of the same actions today. Where they're
the guy.
He wasn't letting the guy.
No. It wasn't right.
I'm gonna pull this.
He said that Obama touted himself as that, which is what the quote he read demonstrated.
He was making spit sounds, and he said he should have been dropped off my butt.
No, that was different. I think that was a different person. I mean, you can bring the guy up again. I just didn't want him to interrupt.
Barack Obama said himself in April 2011, he addressed it himself. He said, I know there is going to be a segment of people for which, no matter what we put out, this issue will not be put to rest. But we do not have time for this kind of silliness. We've got better stuff to do.
What year was that?
April 2011.
So then why did you attribute the birther thing to Trump?
I mean, I was alive during that time. That's how I remember it. But see, even I don't know why it's
Yeah, but it started under the...
we're not allowed to. We have to run everything that we see through.
Sorry,
perspective for them to reinterpret it back to us. I was alive. I remember him pushing.
Yeah,
You said
Yo, shush. Are you there?
I'm here, buddy. What's up?
Okay. So the claim on the table was that Barack Obama himself was touted as as like he touted himself as that was the claim.
Well, yeah,
That was the second part. We all can agree.
Yeah,
that's
the
wrong.
second part. Chris said.
Yeah, okay. So just so we know, the thing that was read didn't substantiate the claim that was made. Okay.
It didn't deny the claim. And by the way, if you don't believe that Barack Obama himself would have been with full knowledge of all promotional material to promote his books,
Prove it.
you ever written a book?
Prove it. You can't. Prove it.
Okay, but why are you going to the second part, which is so controversial? Just stick to the first part. The first birther comments came out of the Clinton campaign. That was never directly to Clinton, but they happened in 2008. And a Clinton staffer was fired for it.
Thank you. That's all I was trying to say. Chris said that Barack Obama was the first one to have to produce a birth certificate because of the Trump thing. And I said, no, the birther thing started way before Trump. And that's a fact. And none of y'all are like, well, are none of you guys going to say that Chris is dumb? Of course you're not going to say Chris is dumb, but Chris is the one that started this whole thing. Trump had nothing to do with the birther thing. Now, he said some shit about it when he finally started running for president, but the birther shit happened way before Trump. And I don't understand. Like, Chris, you say these things that some of these policies are being erased right now. Like, what are you talking about?
Trump was the biggest amplifying voice of that, but he wasn't.
It was
the biggest.
That thing had a leg long before them.
But that's like
me, it's the fact that, like, okay, we all lived through this. It's like saying that, like, on 2000, on 9/11, that I need to go back and watch the video because, like, there was birds that flew into the tower. There wasn't a plane that flew into the tower. It's just like, we all saw it.
Bro, you said
we all saw it. Donald Trump became one of the most high-profile people and promoters of that birther conspiracy in 2011.
Bigger than Hillary?
No, this was what helped him to get to get in the race. This is what he was using to, like.
Why the fuck would we care if Obama was if Obama's term was over? Why would we didn't give a fuck about that? It was dumb.
A lot of people did.
Yeah, okay, so you're saying we voted for Trump because Obama wasn't from this country?
I'm not saying you collectively. I'm saying that it's part of it. It definitely boosted the fuck out.
Right, that's the thing. It's like, I think sometimes it's difficult for some people who are on the other side to see this as a larger system and just want to pop them all with, like, all these things and saying that they're totally unrelated instead of whack-a-mole.
They see a larger photo, just not that larger. Big photo. Try it ain't possible. You're
Trump didn't run against Obama. He ran against Hillary Clinton.
The same thing happened with Kamala, right? Where they were like, is she black or is she Indian?
Yeah, do you remember
is she black or is she Indian? I don't know whether she's black or whether she's Indian. I don't care either way.
Trump goes, I don't care what she is.
That might get so bad, man. The fact that Joseph said that Barack Obama is Nigerian just shows his racist ideology. Yo, he first said Nigerian. That was the most stupidest shit you could ever do. What the fuck?
And Chris, you just tried to do it again with the Kamala thing. Do you remember what Trump actually said? Trump goes, I don't care what she is. She's the one that keeps saying she's this and she's that and she's this and she's that. I don't give a shit. You guys keep asking me, and he's just going by the shit she's saying. So he's like, I don't care what she is. He literally said that. He's like, I don't care what she is. She's the one who's saying all this stuff. So you guys, like, you keep doing this stuff. And again, everyone's getting away from the fact that Chris is trying to attribute this whole racist white supremacy nonsense bullshit. Which, by the way, the only people who think white people are superior are people that think like you, Chris. We don't think we're fucking superior.
No, I think we're fucking Mike, I don't want you to get upset, man. I'm just having a conversation. Trust me. Here, Mike, trust me. Look,
calm down, lady.
Mike.
Let me finish.
Mike, trust me.
I'd like to go after Mike.
What we're trying to say here is that none of this has anything to do with the fact that white people think they're superior. None of it. No laws are being passed to try to oppress black people. There's nothing that you can do. There's nothing that I can do in America that you can't go do, Chris. Zero. You couldn't name a single thing. Go ahead, Mom.
I mean, beyond wearing a tan
It's like a crybaby, Mike. What the fuck?
Chris just
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't just attack me like that and then just go to Monica. Like, first of all, right? Like, I'm
He didn't attack you. He just challenged you. He didn't attack you.
Monica,
Chris responded.
thank you. So trust me, Mike, if white people were really superior, if they really were, if you really believe that, you know, white people were superior, then we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in right now. So clearly it's not true, right? That's the issue that I think a lot of people are recognizing is like, why are we upholding this falsehood so much? Because that falsehood is what is affecting other people.
What situation?
The inability to recognize like the implications of it. So like, for instance, right, talking about, oh, well, Trump didn't say anything when it came to Kamala, right? He said, I don't care if she's black, I don't care if she's Indian, right? There is historically, and even in racial context, been this term that has been used for a long time called doublespeak, where it's when people purposely and deliberately obscure and try to disguise and distort and reverse the meaning of words. They're not just lying, they're trying to use words in a way that makes something sound better or softer or see how it's going to land. And Trump does that all the time. He's always like, we'll see, I'll release the files, or maybe I won't, or maybe I will. He's testing the water. He's using doublespeak to try and like see what going to catch. So that within itself is counting. So to think that it's like,
I don't know what situation we're in that white people are smart we wouldn't be in.
The same way you attach that gross presumption of what I think you're misconstruing blatant masculinity to be. Obama did the same thing by orating extremely fucking slow. Hey. Oh, okay. So don't do that. There's psychological nuances to both of them. We could jump all night.
And every politician does doublespeak and code switching.
Okay, it's important. Okay, yeah, that's it's important. I mean, the thing about that is Mike, I heard. I don't agree that there are people that feel like white people are superior. But there's a difference between white supremacy and people thinking that white people are superior. I don't think anyone in the 21st century looks at the white race as a superior race to anybody. And the fact that you felt, when you're a white person in America, and you feel when they're speaking about white people, and you feel that they're talking about you because your race is white, you're part of the problem. You're adhering to the stupidity. No one's talking about you. No one's talking about your ethnic group. No one's talking about your race. No one's talking about your family. But for some reason, you feel victimized, Mike. That's what confuses me when people cry and talk like you.
God, the black fragility is so fucking prevalent. Go ahead, Mike.
So I was talking about this today. There's a word, a slur, that people can call white people in our country today that has long-lasting ramifications. It's as powerful, and I would say maybe more powerful than the black slur used against Black Americans.
What is this word? Slur is that, Monica?
Shiloh Hendricks was called it, and she got death threats because she was called it. The Covington High School kid, Nick Saban, 2019 on the steps of the
Sorry, are you ever not trolling?
Yeah, what word are we talking about?
Racist.
Oh, wait. You're saying that calling someone, that the term racist is...
Don't take the bait.
Oh, it's just so juicy. How can I not?
No, we are living in the upside down.
That's taking the bait. Just ignore
You answer my question, Chris? Yes, no, or refuse?
It's not bait.
What was your question?
What's the situation that we're in that if white people were smarter, we wouldn't be in?
I think we wouldn't be finding a problem with diversity. Like, you recognize that when people are different, that's something to appreciate, not something to feel threatened by. I don't think that we would be seeing strength as like who you can bring to your knees, who you can like.
Can you prove that it's a strength?
Who you can. Do you think that's? Let me just ask you. Do you think that strength is based on? Let me just ask you. Because we're having a conversation, right? So, do you think that strength is measured by who you can bring to their knees or who you can lift up?
I think that question is a dumb question.
Why is it dumb?
Well, first of all, it's a false dichotomy.
Okay, what's false about it?
It's a dichotomy.
All right. Can you unpack that? What's the problem with it?
It's a syllogism. It makes no sense. What if strength is other things?
Okay, instead of getting into semantics and stuff, what do you put
semantic? It's literally just more argument. It doesn't make any sense.
Or framing. He's saying that you're saying strength is either the ability to lift people up or the ability to crush or something, whatever the phrasing you use. He's saying that's not the right way to frame the question of what strength is, right? Presumably he has some other, but he's being
I'm not being quiet, just that's a false dichotomy. It's always more strength. Well, there's multiple kinds of strength, but one kind of strength could be breaking people down, like in the military context, or one kind of strength could be building people up. There's different. Both of those exhibit strength. There's also strength that is just like a person being prudent in a moment where they're maybe take leadership. There's all sorts of ways strength can be exhibited, but I don't think the phrase diversity is our strength, which is what you were edging on, which is, by the way, another type of strength people believe in, which you left out of that question conveniently. I don't think that that's a strength at all. I don't think that you could prove that diversity is a strength.
Okay, so
really, then why is America the most diverse and strongest country?
I don't think that just because the strongest country is also the most diverse, that it is necessarily the diversity that is contributing to the strength.
Okay, so then, I think that that white supremacy often collapses under its own logic. Real strength doesn't require suppression to survive. And I think that there's this effort to suppress on a lot of different fronts, whether it's voices, votes, populations, inclusion, all those things. And I think that if somebody if a group of people was actually supreme, they wouldn't need laws or violence or propaganda or exclusion to me. They would actually pay attention to this exclusion. So coming to
because if you're going to list a bunch of things,
you have to let people finish, right?
Chris, you're long-winded. You're losing all the point.
It's called gish galloping. If you want,
he's not gish galloping yet. It is true that he's not addressing the question. It does seem like you sidestepped the question of diversity, though, Chris. So I will point that out. But it's not a gish gallop. I mean, it sort of is kind of changing topic a bit.
Chris, how are voices being suppressed? Chris, let's just go with voices. You said voices, votes, and other stuff. Let's just do voices. How are voices being suppressed?
Okay, so the 700 ballots that were removed from Fulton County.
Okay.
The fact that we have a process, we have a judicial process, due process for people when they're criminals, that is just kind of being sidestepped, right? When it comes to illegal immigration.
How are they
We're not getting an opportunity to make a case.
Let me finish the list, and then I want to walk them through this. What else, Chris? How else is it being suppressed?
Those are a couple examples.
Okay, let's go with due process for criminals. Number one, due process not for criminals, but for illegal aliens. What do you believe due process means?
It means that they have to, they get the opportunity to make their case, present their documents and things like that in court.
That is not what due process means, my friend.
Okay, what does it mean?
The process means that there is in law a list of things that you as an individual, given circumstances, are required to get. And illegal immigrants have have very little in the way of due process, and that's illegal. That is the process they are due. They are almost all receiving their full due process, and in fact, all of them are receiving their full due process.
That is not true, and I bet you nobody in the room can actually name the due process rights, but I can if you want to hear what they are. That is not true.
Hold on, William.
That's what I did.
Don't interject. Let him go. Let him land.
Expedited removal is totally legal.
It's without due process.
That is the process. That is the process, William.
Yeah, you're begging the question, William. The question is not whether they have due process. They do. The question is, what is that process? And that's what we're debating right
Yeah, no, of course, there is.
Mike,
Hold on.
Mike.
Okay, somebody name the due process.
Hold on, William, just let me go. I haven't spoke yet. The one thing everybody seems to forget is everybody thinks due process is you get to walk in and face your accusers, correct? That's not what it is. They have due process. The due process system starts when they reach to find you. Your last address, you're not there. You keep avoiding them. Guess what? The due process starts without you. People have been convicted of murder without ever being at a trial. That's a fact. You can look it up. The due process begins when they start to try to contact you. If these people are avoiding the deportation process, their due process begins without them. That is their choice. How do you? They have a choice to be active in the system, and it is a fact. And I beg you, before
that is not what due process is.
Look it up. Then, William, you need to go look up the facts because that's coming from a federal judge. His word sat these cases.
Let's just
okay. Do I get to speak now? So I get to explain what you mean. Let me just read it. Let me just read it. Nobody in the room even knows the difference between substantive.
Wait, let me just read it.
Process and procedural due process.
Wait, let me just read it.
No, let him go. You can read it in the audience if you want. Let William go.
Okay. Due process rights breaks down into two categories, substantive and procedural. What we're talking about is procedural due process rights. You have the right to have a lawyer present your defense. You do not have the right to a free attorney appointed to you. This is exactly why the 1996 IRA set it up so that it's civil and not criminal, because the cost of those lawyers would have been enormous. You have the right to provide evidence and witnesses. You have the right to hear evidence against you. You have the right to examine and defend the opposing evidence.
This is for a
You have the right to a hearing and a trial. Can you let me finish, please? It's not for a criminal case. These are your
You're talking about criminal cases.
I'm talking about procedural due
You don't
process.
have that in a civil case.
So if you want to interrupt me instead of me getting through all the fucking things, because you can't keep your mouth shut.
Here you make them like you're missing the argument.
I'm not missing the argument.
Let him finish. I want you to put the audience.
Should I go right back to the beginning, and then you can argue over whether the due process rights are applicable in criminal or civil? I'm not missing the argument. I'm defining what the rights are. I'm defining the rights, Norm. I didn't hear you step up, Norm, and say the rights. Nobody in the fucking room can say. So one person who does know what the fuck they are.
I'm going to move you down now. Get back on topic.
I'm sorry. I will go back. I'm sorry. Norm tends to irritate me and probably a lot of people. I'll go back against you. You have the right to examine evidence, the opposing evidence. Or you have the right to present your evidence as well as examine the opposing evidence. You have the right to an impartial decision maker, which is civil. A judge would be criminal. And you have the right to have that decision based solely on the charges and evidence presented against you. And you have the right to an appeal. Those are your due process rights. There are some differences when it's civil versus criminal, but those are your due process rights. If you have had your trial, as the person ICE, I believe his name was, and you were not present, they issue a warrant, a final order of removal. There's two different types of warrants. There's a 200, which indicates you do not have due process rights anymore because they have already been given to you. I'm sorry, I got that backwards. A 205 means you've already gone to your due process rights. A 200 warrants means you still have due process rights. If you are not present, they order and issue a final removal order in absentee, which means you were not there. So while ICE was correct in part, what he was saying was not actually correct. Now, I have done the research on this. I can tell you for a fact, I have 3 friends who are immigration lawyers. But you can comment me any way you want.
So, okay, so real quick follow-up. If a person is illegal and they have their asylum, like they're claiming asylum, and their asylum claim is denied, have they had their due process?
Well, let's start with the fact that if they cross the border illegally, they're not entitled to asylum. They're not eligible. If they do not file for asylum in the country next to their country, they do not qualify for asylum.
I agree with that. So then, yeah.
So if they have, so to answer your question, if they have applied for asylum, have not filed an appeal immediately afterwards, when they get denied, they have had their due process rights. If at the time of them being told that their appeal was denied, the lawyer pulls out and I don't remember the exact form off the top of my head right now, but I could probably go and find it. That appeal would then reenact you to get further due process rights. There's 2 places you can appeal. One is the BIA, the Board of Appeals. The other is the Immigration Court itself.
Like, I don't think we need this much detail. Like, he just asked one question. Okay. Is there a follow-up?
Well, so yes, so they, like, because asylum cases are getting denied at like an 85% clip right now, right? Like 85% of all the asylum cases are getting denied. So those people, after the asylum cases get denied, they have the deportation order, they're picked up, they're deported, they've had their due process, right? We're not arguing about those people.
Correct.
That's good. Okay, so which people are we talking about that aren't getting due process?
Typically, people are talking about the ones that are getting expedited removal. When I get into this argument with people, it's usually people do not understand expedited removal.
That is their due process. What do you mean?
It's like y'all not connecting the fact that there are other groups of people like Venezuelans and people from Honduras who are losing their protections right now, right? Like their temporary status, their temporary protected status is being rescinded during the exact same time that people are trying to do these Come on, like just
They don't.
It makes me sad. Like, I don't even try to see any connection between why both of these things occur.
The audience, if they interrupt others like unwarrantedly.
Required to have protected status. That is a gift.
Well, it's kind of a fraudulent contractual basis, because if you're being told that if you follow these steps, you will get citizenship, and then the government kind of reneges it. But I think it's
never told that.
right? Because so one thing, no, I think it's worse than that, because if we understand that they're violating the very act of any executive branch investigatory body stopping a person within the United States and asking for paperwork is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Full stop. This is not constitutional. Yes, it is. But the constitutional. So hold on. Certain protections and clauses. So not all rights are granted to persons in the United States. Just one mention. And yes, no, the Bill of Rights applies to persons who are within the jurisdiction of the United States. And by the way, just real quick, would you have it any other way? Hold on, would you cut slavery? Hold on, please, I'm asking a question. And with that being said, because we can just fact check that right now, and I'd love to do that. But with that being said, would you have it any other way, considering slavery was once law? And I hope you're not just going to say precedence as your moral claim. Are you suggesting that people who are not citizens don't deserve protection under law?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, then you're an authoritarian. That's fine.
With nuance. The answer is that they don't. The answer is that they do not have Fourth Amendment right protections. What are you talking about?
Can you articulate why they are not entitled as a human to the same protections as any other human?
Because the American Constitution is written for Americans who subject themselves to the jurisdiction of America.
Okay, so black people weren't considered free when it was written, but should we keep that too? I asked you, a grown man who thinks for himself, what your justification is for what you just said.
I don't think you think for yourself, though. That's the problem.
I don't think for myself, but I'm the one arguing you? What?
Do you believe that illegal immigrants? Yeah, you don't think for yourself. You're repeating tropes, but Do you believe that illegal immigrants are slaves?
No, I
Do you believe illegal immigrants?
No, because otherwise you're just doing piss at insults. Is this where I throw one back at you? No, you made a claim. Name the trope. Name the trope or retract the statement. Name the trope or retract the statement.
I don't think you know what a trope is.
Do you know what a trope is? A trope
I
is
do, yeah.
A trope is an atypical, kind of almost cliche kind of argument or position. And so what was my cliche position? I'm waiting.
That all humans deserve laws.
Yes, you think humanitarianism is cliche?
It's
What is the definition of civil?
It's just dumb.
Yeah, it is dumb. It is dumb. Do you know what Magna Carta is? You don't even know what you're talking about.
I dissent from people who literally their job is to protect it.
What's your concept of liberty? That you get this special class, you fucking goofball.
Magna Carta only applies to Englishmen. What are you talking about?
This is pseudo shit. You don't
Magna Carta only applies to Englishmen. What are you?
That's not what. It's not about the. Obviously, it's literally lords. Hold on, no. When anyone brings up the Magna Carta, they're not bringing up the literal inception because it was obviously still very based in the elites. But it was the birthplace of these ideas.
Okay, truth.
What do you think America stands for? If not liberty.
Liberty for the people that come here and subject themselves to the jurisdiction of the United States. Yeah. What do you believe that illegal immigrants are slaves?
No.
Okay. Well, then what is a slave? The fight of those who were enslaved have anything to do with the fight of people who came here not subjecting themselves to the jurisdiction of the United States when they entered?
Because it's how laws in our country have been able to veil and hide harm. And I hear the same argument that's happening where it's saying like, because it's legal, right? Okay, slavery was legal at one point in time too. And
no one made the argument.
But the argument,
no one made that argument.
No, there has been.
You literally did.
Yeah, how about you literally just went through like the statutes on the books and talked about like why it's not wrong because of the fact that it's illegal.
Not subjecting themselves to the jurisdiction of the United States. That is the law of the land. It's always been the law.
Right, but this is not about like who technically qualifies for asylum or refugee protection. No, it's not. It's about like just reducing or removing legal protections or status for people that previously had rights in this country, and it's during a very convenient time, right? So just because you make certain changes in the legal system does not give you the moral high ground, which is the reason why this conversation came up in the first place when somebody was saying, why do you think that white people are superior? And I said if they were superior, then they wouldn't do things that are like problematic like this.
Oh shit, he said that.
He didn't say that. What he said was if white people were superior, we wouldn't be in this situation. That was the.
He said white people were superior.
Was this situation?
Just for anyone who cares more about just because it's he said, right? So here's what the Constitution actually says. The Fourth Amendment does apply to persons, not just citizens. So originally when I said, hey, it's a violation of due process for any executive branch to question someone for their paperwork without a judicial warrant, not an administrative, which is within the executive branch, but with an actual judicial warrant. And here's why that matters. That's part of what made America great. Like, this is insane. That's why you saying, well, that should just be for citizens is actually gross. And I'm so glad the founding fathers.
Let's read the Fourth Amendment because you don't seem to know what it says. What is the Fourth? True.
There is case law that says on the top.
Hold on. Let's read the Fourth Amendment.
Okay, guys, before we read all that, we can just cut to the chase. It says what Truth is saying, but it also is going to say what he was just about to read. That there are exceptions to that. If you continue reading, I can walk up to anybody and ask to see the problem.
Wait a second. He doesn't say what he was saying. It says the people. The Fourth Amendment is the right of the people. And the people, as defined by the Supreme Court numerous times and others, are Americans who subject themselves to the jurisdiction of the American.
I can't do anything now, but like truth is basically right. At the very least, the jurisdiction, what's it called, the case law on this is super unclear. At the very least, right? And I think the best you can say is the Supreme Court upholds some
elements of due process, right? Substantive due process and not others. But like someone else can look it up and post it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Supreme Court Tyler versus Doe, 1982. The Supreme Court affirmed the constitutional protections applied to undocumented people in the President of the United States. Again, but that's just the Supreme Court. This guy on Clubhouse, he's so sure of himself. But again, just to reiterate, right? Because my main point was this, and this is why I mentioned slavery. This is important. We as individuals have to think for ourselves. It's ironic, right? Because see how it went full circle? We as individuals have to think for ourselves, and arguing its law is not a moral argument. That's what I'm glad we all, like I said in the beginning, I'm glad we agree with you. I'm glad the rest of us recognize that everyone should be treated equally under the law, regardless of their citizenship status.
That's exactly what I said. Like,
this Amendment is a right given to the people. The people by the Supreme Court has been ruled to be the people of the United States subject to its jurisdiction. You guys have no idea what you're talking about.
See, I figured you're not even foundationally black. You one of them imposter Negroes. See, I don't have to. I didn't even hear most of this conversation. I knew something was going to be framed to the detriment of the white, straight, conservative male. That has consistently been, for the past, I want to say, easily decade, the most battered down, beat dead horse in the goddamn world. You fucking faggots couldn't have built a fraction of what this country was.
I'll say this, that most of the country has been built on the backs of European immigrants. It's a fact. You can look it up. Yes, there was a big part of it that blacks have been a part of. But if you're going to take 14% of the population now and claim it built the whole damn country, that argument is out the window. It's stupid. It's not even negotiable. We're not even talking about that argument. But hold on. There's a case in 1943 and a case in 2001. UC versus America, and I can't remember the other in 2001. But they upheld that illegal immigrants are granted certain constitutional rights, and the fourth is included in that. But there is times that it gets circumvented, and ICE can walk up and ask for anybody's paperwork, and if they have suspicion, they can ask for anybody's paperwork, and all they need is suspicion. If they watch somebody they are going to arrest run into a home, they can enter the home. What they did in Minneapolis, they called, and they got a warrant, but they said, you can do one of two things. We can kick the door down and come in, or you can send them out, and they stayed out. And then what they said, they called the court and said, listen, we know he's in there. He ran in there. It happened with an Uber driver, what do they call it? The Uber Eats driver or whatever it was. And the court said, okay, yeah, you get the warrant. Then they go in. They don't just kick down the doors like everybody was saying. So we got to understand that, yes, there are due process rights. There are protections. But you need to understand the things that have changed over time. A lot has changed. Hell, it was Bill Clinton that first put in the elimination of due process within 100 miles of the border. Nope, they don't get any. Ship them back. Yep.
But here's the next point that I wish.
Hold on, I'm gonna get that. Hold on.
That was pushed.
You're wrong.
It was pushed this time. No room within 2 weeks.
Okay, we're gonna have to do right.
I posted the link in the chat from the U.S. government, and the State Department can revoke a visa at will for reasons including but not limited to criminal arrest without conviction or security threat. There are many more reasons. Feel free to read them on the U.S. Embassy website.
Oh yeah, I don't think anyone can challenge
exercise. I'm reading from the U.S. Embassy website. This power can be exercised even if the visa holder is already in the United States, often based on new derogatory information, safety concerns, or suspected ineligibility. The visa can be revoked.
Yeah,
please read it. Feel free to.
Black people, like if they were not south of the Mason-Dixon line, they could be put back into slavery. So
that's a horrible thing. That's Plessy v. Ferguson. But we're not living then, we're living now. This is February 23rd, 2026, and I've just read you the law.
But that was the law back then, too, so it's like, what's the difference?
I don't have the time
interpreting. I didn't have to hear the combo to know what it was about.
legislature to change it, but you can't argue that it's not the law.
I don't think anyone was calling that into question. I mean, that makes sense for security purposes. We retain that right. But my claim was that it's just kind of when you look at the fact that I think 75% of the people who are detained have no criminal convictions, and another 25% have a pending charge. So you could call, even if you say all those pending charges become guilty, about 1 out of 2 people have no criminal charge or record.
Sure.
And so it's like,
did you happen to hear
Did
you happen to hear Tom Homan's actual stats? He gets the data every day, and he just got into it with Bill Maher about this because Bill Maher said exactly what you said. And Tom Homan was in this job since, I believe, was it Clinton or was it even before that? He's been in the job. Yeah, right. He's been in forever. Might have been since Reagan. He's been through all of these presidents, and he looks at the data every day. And the latest data shows that 70% of them have criminal histories. 20% have national security risks. Now, I'm just telling you what this man reads the data every day. This man reads it. And hold on. This man reads the data every morning. And this man was telling all through Republicans, through Democrats. This is his fucking words. Listen to him. I just gave you.
I'm not going to believe a person over data, so if we can get a source.
Okay, the source is the Department of Homeland Security's data for a restaurant.
Yeah, let's look at it.
His name is Tom Homan, and I don't know if you know who he is, but he is the.
I don't really care.
Man, I know who you don't care. This is the process truth.
Why would I care? Listen.
Because what matters is he's the foremost authority on it. Do you know who Tom? Do you know that he? Hold on. Do you know who Tom Homan is?
I was actually about to say the last thing I remember about him was the whole FBI thing. So his name doesn't ring. He doesn't have good publicity. Let me put it like that. So I didn't immediately think good things. But
he was given a medal by Obama for his work at ICE.
Oh, I don't love Obama. I'm not a sycophant. I love when people do that. What about it?
No. What he's saying is he's not a Trumper. That's what he's saying.
Neither a fallacy nor a Trumper. He can be corrupt. They're all fucking corrupt. Bro, I don't play the game. Anyway, look.
So let's talk about corruption. So corruption is let's uphold the laws. Upholding the laws that are federal laws, that's corruption. No, corruption is if it's all wrong, not changing it. Because we all vote for the same fucking fools for 50 years that have never changed a thing. Let's be real. How did Nancy Pelosi stand on this? What did she do? What did Maxine Waters do? What did Mitch McConnell do? What did these guys that have been for 40, 50 years do? And we all can say this. We had a Border Patrol agent go on, I think, 60 Minutes and literally say, I am no longer able to do my job because I am required by the federal law to make one phone call when a child comes in and gives me a phone number. I call them. I'm not to ask any more questions, and we send them there. And everybody in this office knows what's happening. They're trafficking them. And you know what? What percentage of America do you think as a people would say that law needs to be changed tomorrow and we could write it real quick? There is no sending it there. It has to be verified.
So I just debunked your buddy Tom Homan.
Would it be 100%? Would it be 100% of Americans would agree you don't send a child to a place you know is a child trafficking place? I would think so. So why aren't the politicians changing it?
Yeah, because they're all corrupt and in bed. But so to the Tom Homan thing, right?
But Tom Homan is running the books by the books of the law for removing people. That's what he's doing. He went up to Minneapolis because, whatever reason, we have a governor and a mayor who
Can you give me a source though? Because I got you a source.
Okay, so Tom Homan, you need to look him up because he's not a
source. He's a person.
He relayed the information from the Department of Homeland Security. So look it up under the DHS. DHS, look it up.
No, you made the claim, brother.
No, you want to fucking deny it. Prove me wrong.
No,
this is where I laugh.
Buddy.
Because I can know listen the right word. This is what we're going through.
Bias is from a leading parent company, you slick son of a bitch.
Yeah, because as soon as somebody posts something, you're going to be like, I don't like that source. How do we know it's really
a valid source? It's a valid source. I don't really care who to what. It still has to be a credible source. But yeah, I have no horse in the race. I'm a fact finder. Okay, I made a claim. I provided a source for my claim. That's a credible source. If you have want to call my source into question, I'll take it. And if it sounds credible, I'll find an alternative source. We can.
But is your source credibly analyzed analyzing the data because the difference between the 70% and the 30% you're talking about, if you look into it, it's the people who have been convicted versus charged. So there is a discrepancy between the 70% and the other. And since you hate comparing to other presidents, I won't even bring up where Obama's numbers were. Guess who had less criminals deported than Trump? Take a guess. The numbers and the data you present, you have to dig deeper to see what is the data and where are they getting it from. Like if you believe AIC and $100 billion is paid in taxes and you don't know where they come up with that number, then you're just going to believe it and, oh, it's a credible source. Where is the data from? It's 70% if you include the charges, not convictions, and it's 30-something percent if it's only convictions.
You can be deported for being arrested and having charges against you. That's why that's a valid statistic.
But okay, can someone just get a source for their claims though? Like this
Department of Homeland Security. I put the link in the chat.
Can you tell me what do I control?
I can't share the source, but the Cato Institute had a famously libertarian think tank, had a report saying that I think 8% of those deported were, or at least brought to detention, were criminal offense, like either violent or property crime. Right, which is I think the most relevant. That's I think the most relevant category.
And this is what happens when you operate based on quotas, right? Where people just have to get a certain number of criminals. Same thing happens in policing, right? Where it's more so just about meeting numbers.
That's an anomaly and has been proven false numerous times. Thank God for non-anecdotal data.
And does it really matter? Like, does it matter that it's only criminals with additional charges that happen to be violent or not be violent? It only deport those people. No other country does that. But somehow we can only deport people who have committed additional crimes.
Actually, I think most countries do.
Most countries can do, right? It's about what you prioritize.
Yeah,
trade-offs and laws, right? It's like, look, we can have a conversation about what we want to prioritize, right? Nobody's saying we can't do this, right? It's not like the UN is saying you can't deport people who break your laws or here merely, or the only quote-unquote crime is that they're here illegally, right? The question is like, what are the trade-offs? There are real trade-offs here, okay?
I agree with you, but when you look deeply into the numbers, and I have,
okay,
the amount of criminals is high.
What I don't care about is, trust me, bro, it's a weird thing. Just get evidence.
The amount of people who have additional crimes that are being deported, if you take the people who have been charged and the people who have been convicted, it's around 70%. Whereas Obama's numbers, if you look at all 8 years, and there was a shift, his last year it was 92% or something like that. In previous years, it was much less than that. The average, I want to say the average is about 60-something% over Obama.
Yeah, no, so look, realistically, Obama was horrible. The left hated ICE under Obama. I mean, I'm not putting this all on Trump. I mean, fuck, the Bush was horrible. Bill Clinton really is the one who turned the heat up. But honestly, there's literally, I don't know if you guys know this, there was literally a plan called Operation Wetback. So this is not, I think that was in the 80s. So this is not the first, it is what it is. Look, but playing whataboutism is not how you make any kind of effective use of observation, right? Right now, Trump is in charge of the Republican Party. Right now, the Republican Party has majority control. These are his platforms, his policies, etc. This is his show, okay? And so, no, I don't care about Obama right now. I can't stand when people do that. So
you have to care about the history when you're sitting here making accusations. How many Republicans don't even understand that Reagan gave amnesty, or that Cesar Chavez was anti-illegal immigrant and used the word you just used that most people would call a slur, so I'm not going to say it. Cesar Chavez
that slur repeatedly in public. Democrats used to be anti-illegal immigrant, and Republicans were pro.
It was really called Operation.
Right? So if you don't understand the history, by what measure or lens are you looking at what's happening today? History matters.
You know what's so funny? Oh, I can't even put the link in the chat because of the way. Google it and it'll come up. Just Google Operation Wetback. It comes up. I don't know why it's not the 80s.
Why is it okay to allow millions of undocumented immigrants into the country? It's not okay.
No, that's a fair question.
No country, of course it is. No country allows that. No country should allow it. One of the biggest problems is the threat to national security. Well, okay, that's my opinion. No country should do that. No country does do that. And therefore,
no countries like America, though. Come on, Darn. Come on.
That's irrelevant. No country does that. No country. No, we do not have. We have neither the money, nor the space, nor the willingness, nor the country. When the country. Excuse me. You can ask the questions at the end. This president was elected by the majority of American voters in order to do. Excuse me. That's right. That's the majority. That 77 million people said they don't want undocumented immigrants in this country. And now he's doing what the people elected him to do. You can't, that's right. Exactly right.
What's the number on
the
that?
American people, elections have consequences, to quote Barack Obama.
Hey, I'm not mad at the process. It's your country.
That's right.
I get it.
That's right. That's right. The American people have said democratically that they don't want illegal immigrants in the country. So the president's supporting them. And as is his mandate.
And when we get back in power, we'll swing the other direction and on we go forever.
Truth, let me help you out here. Norm, do you understand what happens in 2030, 2035, or 2040, depending on whose numbers you believe, when we need mass of illegal immigrants or immigrants here in order to sustain security and Medicare? What are we going to do without millions of people coming into the system? Could the whole system explode?
You slipped up because you confused legal with illegal. Then you corrected yourself. You made my point.
No, I was very cautious and very careful in the words I chose.
That's why you corrected yourself.
No, I didn't screw up.
Yes, you did.
Illegal or legal immigrants is what we need. We have illegal immigrants here that if we gave amnesty towards, they would start getting into that system way earlier than kicking them all out and sending them back through this fucking ridiculous process to get them in here. So truth argument should be that we need illegal immigrants and we need amnesty of the people who deserve to stay.
Nobody is denying that.
The thing is,
put your idea in the suggestion box. Nobody voted for that.
Yeah. So the thing is,
half the country voted for that. If you claim half the country voted for all illegal immigrants to be removed from the country, then you're going to claim the other half the country minus the majority to have them stay and be given amnesty.
No, I said the majority of the American people. I was very clear on that. The American and most of the Electoral College as well. The American people have spoken. If you have a disagreement, vote for somebody else. But for now, we're a democracy.
And also, we have to clarify one thing, right? What you said was a speculation. One thing what's concrete is that we have a classification of legal and illegal. They're coming in illegally coming in, and the law says they should be out. That is illegal. Therefore, they should be deported. That's end of the story. If you don't think that process is correct or reasonable, then talk to the Congress and ask them to change the law. Now, the current law says they're illegal. Therefore, they should be out. And if you're not happy with it, change the law with your academic study, and make it legal. Make the process legal. If you don't think the process is
that was my point. We need amnesty.
Go for it.
That was exactly my point. We need amnesty.
But that doesn't mean that illegal is legal. Okay? That's logical fallacy.
I never said that it was.
Fallacy.
I never said that it was.
Okay, so what's your point? We want to
My point still stands, and you're just arguing, but you're not arguing against my point. My point is that Social Security and Medicare cannot sustain itself without massive amounts of people, and those people are already here.
Everybody is legal. That's your opinion.
I never said everyone is legal.
To the Congress.
See, you're making assumptions of what I said. I said that we need millions of people to sustain Social Security and Medicare, and people are here. And that if you want to call
they're here
this country,
and there's no indicator
if you want to take that to mean that I don't support deporting immigrants, then that's your assumption, because I am not saying that. What I am saying is I'm going back to what Clinton promised us when I voted for him in 1992, when he promised us comprehensive immigration reform, where grandmas get to stay.
Write him a letter. Write him a letter if you're dissatisfied with Clinton.
You know what? I'm not going to write anyone a letter.
Hold on. The relevant fact here is that we dropped 676,000 by New York's estimates, immigrants in the city of New York, and they're what we're going to call low-wage workers. What happens to the people working those low-wage jobs, and what happens to the housing costs of those people that are competing for houses with those 676,000 in New York City alone? Now we take another city. Let's take Fort Lauderdale or Miami, where immigration is very large. What happens in a few short years when all of a sudden you're having hundreds of thousands of people show up? I can tell you what happened. Literally, in 4 years, rent went from $1,750 to $3,750 for me. $4,000 currently, right now, because guess what? We have people filling them. And guess what? I don't think most of these people, when I see them, I know what they're doing for jobs. I know what's required to be here. 3 times the income a month, and yet they're not. They aren't working. I know it for a fact. And guess what?
I understand.
Hold on. I'm just telling you, I know for a fact that people saying, well, they're taking the jobs nobody wants. And it's bullshit, because I sold to 5 states. Ag buildings to 5 states. Commercial buildings to 5 states. The people building them were firing the people who were in their 40s and 50s that were making $25, $30 an hour in the trade of framing, and hiring guys working for $13 to $14 an hour, willing to work 6 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, 7 days a week. All the things that the left, especially in the unions, fought against. So they're anti-union. Hold on, they're anti-union. They're anti what the union fought for, which was higher wage. They're bringing the wages down. And you know what? Once they do, they chase those people out. And now they're in their 40s and 50s having to do what? Go find another job, work at a Home Depot, work at a fast food restaurant, because they don't have the skills to compete at the other jobs out there. And the trades are being overran.
And they end up draining the
correct, but you're proving my point.
The point is
you're proving my point that they're already here, the displacement has already occurred, and to get rid of them, that you go back to your perfect little world the way that it used to be, and then go through the same problem again in 2030 when we actually need them, when they're already here. My point is that it's ridiculous to, at this point in time, with everything that we've suffered, all of the things we've gone through, to just say, get rid of them all, versus doing what every reasonable person who can look at this without a left or a right spin would say, some of them need to go, some of them should stay. The ones that should stay based on some level of merit, and we ought to forgive them of their sins if we are religious at all, and we ought to determine who should stay, who contributes, and give them amnesty. Otherwise, you're just everything for the reason, and then in 2030, when Social Security and Medicare started, we go, we needed those people.
The nice idea. Write your Congress.
We need hatred. They don't like that. It's too reasonable.
Simple. Under Biden, we heard this. We heard this repeatedly for 4 years. Elections have consequences. Norm just said it. We heard that, fuck you, Trumpers, fuck you, Republicans. We heard all of this, right? But when it flips, and Stacey Abrams complains about election collusion and fraud, it's okay. When Al Gore says it, it's okay. When Hillary Clinton
That's not even true, though.
Hold on, stop. It's all true. I put it in a freaking literally on the
No. I'm not saying what you said.
No, the truth. You interrupted me. Let me finish, and I'll let you roll. Okay? Simple fact is what's happening right now is we have a bunch of people acting like children, spoiled children, because we heard for 4 years, accept it, you lost. That's what it was like. Rub your face in it, and now it's the other way, and you have an entire group acting like toddlers, throwing a holy fit, saying federal laws shouldn't be upheld.
They're losing their mind.
You literally had a governor and a mayor literally say that they're not law enforcement. Screw the federal laws. You had officials doing it. This is the problem that the left is having. Bill Maher, a leftist, is blasting the Democrats harder than anybody on the right now because they're lunatics for it. And this is what we have to say. Elections have consequences. It doesn't matter if it was 100 votes more. The Electoral College kicked their ass, and there's an Electoral College for a reason, because LA and New York City should make the decision for everybody in the red part of this country. Because if you look at a map, 98% of the country is red. Yeah, but they don't understand ag industry, they don't understand manufacturing, they don't understand those things.
And immigrants. Just a few things. If I could just real fast. So the Democratic Party, much like the Republican Party, is not like a monolith. So like a lot of the stuff you were saying about, it was funny when the Democrats were doing. It's like, no, we infight all the time. We don't that's like me holding you accountable for Mitch McConnell. Is that what you want? Because I'll do it. I guess you guys love fucking Mitch McConnell. Like, no, stop. First of all, Hillary Clinton got her ass whooped. Hillary Clinton got her ass whooped both times she primaried. Stop it. Stop. No. Anyway, so look, both parties are corrupt. Honestly, a lot of what you said isn't false, but it also applies to Republicans. Like, they cry just the same. They were bitching and whining all through Obama. They fucking talked about his pantsuit for 2 weeks on Fox News when Reagan wore a pantsuit, and they literally called him unpresidential for that. No, I don't want to hear it. Both sides are just monopolized media campaigns against each other, and it's gross. All right, and I look, I get it. Your team won, you're happy. Okay, just know you're getting shit on in the midterms. You know you're getting fucking wrecked because you're talking about the whole map spread, but that's just land mass. That's not population. The metropolitan cities are demonstrably the Democrat. It just happens because they become immigration hubs. They become a center of liberal ideals, and they usually center around more higher education, which tends to bend to the left as well. So no, it's a losing game. I'm sorry. What are we talking about?
Do you think illegal immigration is a liberal ideal?
I'm sorry?
You think illegal immigration is a liberal ideal?
We don't listen. You have to say something.
How is breaking the law a liberal ideal? Liberal is the rule of law.
Normal, hear me for a second.
Liberal is the opposite of
hear me for a second. Some of us on the left, which is probably the majority of us, by the way. Oh, by the way, just real quick.
I don't know who us is, and I don't know who you think.
I put this link in the chat. I put this link in the chat earlier, by the way. ICE has a 62% disapproval rating.
This is not going to be run by polls. It's going to be run by the law.
No, I'm just trying to.
Republicans do not respond to polls.
I said that because earlier you were saying this is what the people voted for. I'm like, that's not what the polls.
It's what the people voted for.
Yeah, we'll see you at the midterms. I don't think that's what the people voted for.
Sure.
He said bad on
States, do you think are going to flip? Why are you basing your opinion on that?
The president's going to quit to the midterms?
I hear your question. Just real quick, I want to.
Yeah.
He said bad on.
In what way is breaking the law a liberal ideal? I need to hear
that. These aren't bad hombres. We're watching people get raided at church and work. These aren't bad hombres. I'm sorry.
Right. So
we're seeing stats that show 70%, whatever Tom Holland said. We're seeing stats that are telling us 3 out of 4 have no criminal record. We don't like this. We don't like this.
Explain.
We've already talked about that number's wrong.
Yeah, that's.
You haven't proven it wrong. You want to
understand what liberal ideal favors breaking the law, which is the liberal.
I've got a source. You didn't have a source, and then no one told me a source that didn't say anything.
Department of Homeland Security has to.
Your source did not have anything. I went through it. You asked me to
just type in difference between convictions and charges of illegal immigrants being deported. You'll get your head.
Now, which liberal ideal is it? Which liberal ideal is breaking immigration?
Is the person who makes the claim or the person who responds?
Yes, I posted the statistics. Which liberal ideal upholds the breath?
No, you didn't. I'm telling you.
Yes, I did.
Okay,
You're a liar, sir.
Then where?
Sorry, I must call you out as a liar that you to take your hand now and teach you a basic
I'm
statistics
telling you
class?
it's not there.
I'll open a room and
You can just prove me wrong. Just find it.
I already did.
Just make me look stupid.
No,
It's really easy
right
to
now.
Black people argue their points based on how they feel.
I'm not arguing based on my
You lost that one,
his
Drew.
link. You goofball.
You're incorrect.
His claim is not on his link, and I put it in the
Yes,
chat.
of course it is.
That's why I asked him to find it.
So now
It
that
should be very easy to be wrong.
Truth, you lost that one, Truth. Now we've moved on to which liberal ideal is it hang on, you lost the statistics argument. Which liberal ideal upholds breaking immigration law?
So you notice that they're deflecting this, right? So we're going to revisit this one more
we
time.
moved on.
You
lost
said
the argument.
He explained it to you. It's convictions versus charges. Yeah, the two
I
together.
want data and evidence.
We did this half an hour ago. You must have gone to
Still
sleep.
haven't provided one source.
Which liberal ideal?
Your source was debunked.
The Department of Homeland Security was debunked.
We're not moving past this. Make me look stupid.
Well, we
Make
already
me
did
look
look
stupid,
past it.
Norm. Bring your link.
You already do it. You did that for yourself.
Oh, I can't do it twice.
No, I don't need to.
No, because I'm not letting you move past this because you're lying.
Well, you just went backwards, actually,
so
because
now you
know.
don't expose me. I just called you a liar.
I already did expose you.
Is anyone hearing this? How easy would it be for him to just shut up?
And now you've changed the subject.
Sorry, he called me a liar.
You said you were.
He's not going to do that because he's a fucking liar.
You said
You didn't read the link. That's how
you said that liberal
I know.
ideal.
When you said it did. I read
Which liberal? No, you didn't.
Why do you think the first thing after I got done reading is more? What do I put in to find your
Okay, let's go. No, you figured it out. If you don't know how to use a website, I'll give you a basic class on how to use the World Wide Web.
Gray hair. How about you act smart?
Right, I know, personal attack. So now, I asked you for the fifth time. I understand. I asked you for the fifth time, what liberal ideal of
So he wants to now they'll beat the shit out of
we moved on half an hour ago.
Let's move on.
We just got caught. We already did.
You look goofy as hell and everybody knows. What's the next thing you want to
do? Because you're afraid. After having defeated you.
Please, Norm. I'm terrified. Shaking him.
Already did.
What's next?
Already did. Oh, yes, you are, clearly. So, having defeated you statistically.
No, I just pissed myself.
Which liberal ideal?
Norm, I gotta change my underwear.
Which liberal ideal upholds breaking the law? Tell us.
So it's not about breaking the laws. We want to change the law. We want open borders. We want
because you're your representative.
We want secure borders, but we still want them open.
Yes. So, Congressman. Unfortunately,
that's why they didn't want to let ICE into California. You understand that, right? They've already kind of figured it out.
Apparently, the American people disagree with you. I think you're going to have to make a more persuasive argument.
60% disapproval rating. The American people are not happy.
This is a poll, not an election. It is useless to your argument.
Cool. So you want to bet money on
explain to me why. Why are you in favor of? Why are you in favor of illegal
money
immigration?
up on the midterms right now.
Why? You're changing the subject again. Why are you in favor of
easy money, is it? And you just said this is what people vote for, right?
I'm not talking about easy money. You think the president will change in the midterm?
It's really funny to take a stance on that midterm.
Why do you favor illegal immigration? Truth, why are you in favor of illegal immigration, and what ideal does that represent?
The reason why, so I'm a leftist, so there's no illegal people on stolen land.
Nobody said that.
I think it's hypocritical. I think it's hypocritical.
Nobody said the people are illegal. We said they're breaking the law, and nobody stole any land.
No, so they get America. It was given.
We moved here and settled it.
They moved
and that includes you, by the way. So once again, what
that is exactly how a English person would explain.
Why do you favor? Yes, you did actually.
As a black person, Nor?
Yes, as a black person. Yes, you moved here as a black person.
You're sort of
so what liberal ideal?
You're smiling. I can hear you.
Why are you in favor of breaking the law? Happy Black History Month, by the way. Why are you in favor of breaking the law? Why are you in favor of breaking the law? Explain.
How dare you?
Yes. Why? What do you mean? I can't wish you happy Black History Month.
You know intellectually,
I kind of whipping your black ass.
Truth, he's not whipping nobody black. First of all, was that?
Listen to the room. Read the room, brother. So why are you in favor of breaking the law? Explain that one.
He's not going to answer you, Norm.
Why are we in favor of this law because the law's unjust, just like freeing slaves was good?
So right here,
Somebody?
So you have no justification,
with
right?
argument add law?
Wait, so you have no argument except why is the law unjust?
NPC, whatever the law system.
Why is the law unjust, Truth?
Shut the fuck up. Nobody's as stupid.
Why is the law unjust, Truth?
You're not even as dumb as you
Why is the law, that's the first thing I'm saying. Why is the law unjust?
I guess they should have just followed the law and reported the change to the
Why is the law unjust?
Why don't you just follow the law and report the change
Stop
to the
dancing, Truth. This is not a dance party.
Please don't answer.
Truth. This is not a dance party, Truth. Why is the law unjust, Truth?
My morality, you simple old man.
Why is the law unjust, Truth?
Why is the law unjust? Because it's rarely based in ethic, almost always based in language.
So
I know people moved here, Norm.
I love you.
Why is the law unjust?
You said the Native Americans. Say, hey, you got it. I'm gonna leave out.
I'm waiting to hear why the law is unjust. That's the only substantive thing you said. Why is it unjust? What's unjust?
Law is not inherently just or unjust.
No, I never said that. Why is this law unjust? You said it was unjust. You said that.
So specifically to America's history, the way...
No. The immigration law.
No, I'm explaining. I'm literally telling you. And it's not going to be some big preamble. It's going to take a second. The leftist perspective, for those of us who share this, essentially boils down to a philosophy of live and let live. We can afford it. It'd be one thing if, like, we believed there was, like, scarcity and we were literally in danger. That's a different thing. But we're like, no, we haven't...
You don't think the country's in debt right now?
We're in debt, but we still have abundance.
Oh, so then we do have an issue with spending money that we don't have, right?
I mean, we just spent how much money on ICE? 190 billion over the next 5 years?
So you agree that we have limited resources, correct? You said we have the money, but in fact we're in debt.
In my opinion, America could turn it around, but it'd have to actually take a non-corrupt Congress and Senate. Our issue isn't like...
our issue is...
Norm, can I interject?
Please do, go ahead.
I think most people would agree because our budget is at...
Were you alive during Y2K, Truth?
Yeah, I was 9.
Okay, so during Y2K, we had $5 trillion in debt. 25 years later, we're 38 trillion.
Yeah, thanks, Bush.
So here's the thing.
I know Britain too.
Oh, yeah, and I love that because if you actually go look, every fucking president blew it up. Everybody. So you can thank Obama and you can thank everybody else. And, the one time that it was balanced under Clinton. No, let me finish. The one time it was balanced under Clinton. Oh, that was Newt Gingrich's first time that they had control in 40 fucking years. And he came in and he balanced the budget. Was it really balanced? Fuck no. Let's be real. But every president has surged the spending, okay? But the point is this. You can try to point blames and do the whataboutism. Thanks, Bush. Remember the whataboutism thing you hated earlier?
No, that's
went there. And this is why you get whataboutism. But let me here.
No, we were talking about legacy.
Since 2000, Truth, I let you go on.
We had a surplus under Clinton. You're wrong. What are you saying?
25 years. Tell me what is $33 trillion better. What is $30
We had a surplus under Clinton. That's why it's relevant, Goofy. Hello?
And who was responsible for that?
The surplus of...
The law is unjust. Nobody's telling.
No, it wasn't. No. So honestly, if you want my real opinion, he deregulated the financial sector.
Got rid of
Glass-Steagall. He literally got rid of the Glass-Steagall Act.
The truth is, it has to be a crisis. Exactly.
We don't
I don't think you guys know what you're talking about.
No, we do.
Hold on. Do you know what the Glass-Steagall Act even is?
Do you know what happened in 2008?
Insurance.
Wait, what? Hold on. Do you understand that only happened because of the repeal of the Glass-Steagall Act and the associated financial regulation?
No, we're changing the subject. Why is the law unjust? I'm waiting to hear why the law is unjust.
Glass-Steagall happened in 98.
He's throwing deflections down. Don't lose the topic. The topic is you disagree with the law. So now you want to break the law.
Deregulate the financial sector to crash.
You think breaking the law is a liberal ideal? You're saying breaking the law is a liberal ideal?
No, it's not that breaking the law is liberal. It's that. Wait, just real fast.
That's what he said.
I don't think it's left or right. I think rather it's human to resist laws you find unjust.
What's unjust about it?
Well, I explained from the left, we view America as abundant. You might disagree, but that's fine. You know what's funny?
It's abundant, but it's not unlimited, and it's for Americans, not for anybody who wants to cross the border.
I'm not mad at you for thinking that, but we believe.
You don't have to stand to be angry at me. You have
okay, Clay, they're posturing. I'm saying I respect your position.
Basically,
the law is unjust.
He thinks that whoever is rich on the block, they deserve to be robbed. Because
you almost might call it it's something Jesus might agree with, but maybe you guys don't get it.
Say this again.
Norm, chill out. Norm, chill. Maybe you guys don't get it. I want to ask Truth the question. Truth, you said as a leftist you believe in no borders, open borders, no borders. But then you called the land
but secure borders.
Truth, come on, man.
I literally said open borders but secure borders. That's all I said.
You said as a leftist we believe in no borders.
That's not what I said. I said open and secure borders.
How is
it a contradiction in terms?
No, it just means
that's a logical contradiction.
Them, but we don't limit them.
In other words, why are we screening them? What are we screening them for?
What are we screening
criminals and terrorists. Are you insane?
Well, that's a limitation. That's the limitation. What do you know?
That's not a limitation. You're misunderstanding. We don't just let
them go. You're misusing words.
World in. That's not our policy. But I'm saying, fuck that. Remove the quota up to administrative capacity, meaning like what we can actually bureaucratically manage. Let people.
We're 5 years behind. We're 5 years behind. We don't have the money to hire more people. We don't have the money. We let a million immigrants in a year, just under. That's more than any country on the planet. You're arguing for more.
And how many countries on the planet are as big as America?
Russia's bigger, China's bigger,
80% of Russia's
India's bigger. Excuse me,
80% of Russia's uninhabitable.
Right, that's correct. Russia's bigger, China's bigger, India's bigger, Australia's bigger. None of them have this.
India's not bigger than the United States. They have a larger population.
Yeah, India's much bigger. India has a billion people.
No, we're not about talking about population. We're talking about land mass.
Why are you talking about land mass?
Because that's where people live, Norm.
No, they don't live in the empty parts of the country. They all move to the cities. They all move to the cities, as you said a moment ago, and the cities are overcrowded.
And not only are they overcrowded, new cities can get created, Norm. New cities get created.
Exactly. Well, go start a city.
No, the immigrants will.
Go start a new city.
The immigrants will.
You're contradicting yourself. All the inhabited land in Russia can be inhabited by creating the cities. You just said that.
I'm sorry. Can you
said the Russia cannot be inhabited, has lots of uninhabited land, but you can make it inhabitable by creating the cities.
Correct.
No, what the fuck? Am I talking to? Oh, sweet Jesus. Do you know why?
You're such a dumb.
Do you know why Russia's uninhabitable?
Why?
Because they're broke.
Why is it?
Because it's habitable. Because it's broke. No, it's because it's broke.
Because
name to me all the cities that live in that equatorial line. Go ahead and tell a longitudinal line. I'm sorry. Go ahead and tell me.
Why is it?
What are these famous northern cities past that uninhabitable? You know it's the same for Canada. Hold on, Canada's broke too, right? 80% of Canada's uninhabitable. I guess they're just broke.
It is inhabitable. Yes, you can make it so.
Sure, they did. They created Magneto. Siberia is inhabited.
There are people living in Siberia.
People live in Siberia.
Siberia is one of the bro. I hate when people do this. There's people living in that.
You should hate it because you're embarrassing yourself. You're actually talking to people who know more than you. You're talking to more experienced, more educated, more knowledgeable people.
You think you just educated me on Siberia's existence?
Siberia has no, the fact that it's
You think I didn't know a place that's named has people in it? You think I didn't know a place that's named had people in it? Okay.
Apparently you didn't know.
You said it was uninhabitable, and there are about one person per square mile in that uninhabitable range, which means it's habitable. The difference is it's a shitty environment, and I don't know.
At some point, you guys are just being areas now. You got it. You guys are going. This is why everything was unjust. This is why it's unjust. You're being sassy. This is
If we democratically create a law, explain to us why it's wrong.
Shut up.
Yes, sir, I need to try.
Goddamn, shut up. Nobody, what the fuck?
I'm tired, man.
What? Shut the fuck up.
Truth.
You're like, you're fucking one
That's not working.
managers live there.
That strategy is not working for you.
You're dumbass.
Yeah.
Imagine considering yourself an honest person, and this is how you construct conversations. You actually, bro.
Maybe you should whine and complain
It's
about it.
uninhabitable right now. It will give you a number, but then you're gonna argue with that number. Man, fuck out of here.
I'm sorry, your victim card has been declined. Do you have any other cards, sir?
Disingenuous bet. First of all,
Sir, do you have any other cards that have been declined?
like 6 people.
Sir?
Second of all, you're all disingenuous.
How do you intend to pay for your
You're all disingenuous. It's not like you're this is like you guys are competing with each other to see how much you're gonna hurt because you guys don't have good points. So you're like grasping at straws.
Why do you say that immigration laws are just?
The best fucking territory in the world. You go live in the tundra.
So we have
You disagree, but don't make a dumb.
we have 1 million immigrants per year legally.
Hard ass argument. By the
That's
way,
1 million. We have more immigrants than any other country in human history.
Christian talking like this, by the way. What the fuck?
Well, now you're gonna play the music. Are you running out of cards?
They get to deal with the tundra. You're not a fucking Christian. Shut the fuck up.
Actually, they do deal with the tundra.
You want someone to live in Siberia, so you
They do live in Siberia.
They do live in Siberia, dumbass.
Do you know the history of Siberia and why people live there?
Fucking college kids don't know they live in Siberia.
I think he dropped out of college. He definitely didn't take a dumb motherfucker.
Oh my
Would you like to read some Russian history? You learn a lot about why people live in Siberia.
They don't deserve. This is country hick shit. You are a descendant of a serf, you idiot. You're looking down on them. You're not better.
Why is the law unjust, Chris?
What the fuck are you even saying?
I'm saying to you that your point is unsubstantiated. You don't like the illegal, you don't like the immigration law, but you haven't said why.
I already told you. Because
No, you
we
didn't.
think we think
How is it inhumane?
It's the best, largest landmass of like the collectively like the most temperate, and it has the money. And it just doesn't make sense. It's not.
So I have to look into the reason money that
as a concept.
So can I go where everybody, can I go anywhere I want to?
We don't like greed.
Can I move to Switzerland? Switzerland has a nice snowy environment. Can I just move there?
Listen, we know how you motherfuckers.
Oh, it's a tax.
Keep counting your shekels. All of you.
Just because I don't have any tax. Are you asking? Are you asking for a loan? Are you asking for a loan?
You're worried about the next instead of wondering why you're forgetting insane.
Really? The Star Spangled Banner is
too much Pepsi. Too much Pepsi. Too much anonymous.
How about two little points, Truth?
Truth, sing it.
Blackness.
Okay, buddy.
Sing us the black one.
You got it.
Of course we
No, where's that link again?
To the DHS?
Truth in the link below.
Can you really not find the DHS website? Do I need to take your hand?
You sent me a YouTube link? What is this?
No, I didn't send you.
I did.
I sent you the DHS.
Hold on.
No, you didn't send me
If you want the YouTube link,
I did.
if you want
you did it.
YouTube
Okay,
link,
do it again.
if you want the YouTube link,
I bet
if you want
You ignored it the first time.
Yeah,
If you want to use it.
I just fucking
the fucking World Bank dumb fuck on immigration explaining it, so just shut the fuck up and listen. Watch it. It's the World Bank data.
dumb fuck. I
Shut the fuck up. You've been fucking running your fucking punk ass mouth fucking for the last.
I know that's not
people. That's the fucking brain of yours.
Don't lower yourself.
So Andrew gets on a new page and all of a sudden he gangster. That's crazy.
Now,
Here's what's gonna happen.
No, fuck you, nigga.
Now, fuck you, bitch.
Ow.
I'm talking to you.
Black History Month, people.
Legally, I'm getting the fucking no, fucking in you. Shut the fuck up. You disrespectful little punk ass bitch.
Must be atheist.
So now, if you want evidence, you thing and it's from the World Bank. Using World Bank data. Don't talk the fuck up because he has no motherfucking brain.
I'm not talking, bro.
You can't fucking listen to fucking anything because his fucking brain is fucking working. This is why he can't fucking listen.
Okay, you talking
This is why he's a fucking idiot. This is why he's misinformed. You can call him why he's a dumbass. This is why he's a dumbass. You can talk this is why he's a little bit.
Mark is everything.
I'm the one mouth in his pants. I can't shut his fucking mouth.
Literally crying like
He can't shut his fucking mouth.
All right, let's try not to do the slurs, guys, or all the new stuff.
That's not his
Hey, too.
Or you curse. I don't know who's doing the slurs, but no slurs and no all in-use stuff.
And we're trying to have a polite, civilized
Wait, I can't be talking at the same time.
I apologize, Mike. I apologize.
Oh my God, he sounds like you. I'm glad that's not you. Oh, thank God.
What's up, Drew?
I thought I was getting trolled, bro. I thought fucking Ashley.
You're good, brother. You're good.
Troll ass bitch.
No, no.
You can't stop running your mouth.
You're good.
Here's the facts.
Why does it sound so like you? What the
Andrew, this is the thing. I put in the link below. He always wants facts.
That sounds like me, actually. That's weird.
This is using World Bank data. World Bank data on immigration. It breaks it down into what the U.S. does and what it does for global poverty. We take in 1 million. Each gumball stands for 1 million. This is using their data. And you look at what it does. You can see what they explain. And using World Bank data, what it would do to the U.S. economy. Using World Bank data. Watch it. It's a little video that's just using gumballs so the simple mind can understand the reality of what people think. Because, see, we got to look at it. And this is a socialist that said this. Nothing has ever been produced in a socialist country. It's a conservatism that rise up, a capitalism they produce, and then it starts to feel good, and what happens? They start to push social values, and then they start to undermine the way of life that it is. Now, if you just watch the data that he produces using World Bank data, you'll see why that happens, and why you need to have regulations on who can come in, and why that is. This isn't no left or right. It's using data and numbers. So that's all I wanted to say. So you wanted all this information before, just go sit down and watch this little video. And then I want to hear you defend that we can have open borders, not secure borders. Because, we know that terrorists came across, because even under Biden, they admitted that. But it's okay, because nobody would come here with harm in their minds. Come on.
I didn't say that. Come on. No, I said open, but come on. Go strong.
And that's the funny part. Open but secure. It doesn't make sense.
And I'm doing it right now. So secure. Isn't that the goal? Don't we just disagree with what it's supposed to be? Like, what the fuck?
Hey, Truth, do you leave your front door open but secure?
Comparing my house to the country is just not
open
even
secure.
No, that's just an insane fucking thing.
What does open and secure mean?
Oh, so it basically means we have tight border security. I think it's still not tight enough. Yeah, we can be in the middle here. It's not secure enough. It's not secure. I think that's on purpose, by the way. I think they're trafficking kids themselves, but let me not get into it. The point is, we definitely need to lock down that shit. I agree with you. But that being said, if someone is like just a regular person trying to get a job, checks out, it's like triage. It's like someone, they're low-key refugees, bro. We're the richest country on earth. I don't know what to say. Like, if somebody's trying to get in here, I don't feel comfortable telling them no unless we literally can't take them.
Okay, we'll tell them for you then. No problem.
They can come in.
We'll be the grown-up. Holy shit, bro. Truth, there is nothing stopping an immigrant from legally migrating here. Legally migrating here.
There's a lot of things stopping. That's not true.
Except that, Truth, there were also millions of people who are waiting their turn and are choosing the process and want to enter the country legally. Those are the people I care about, not the dumb fucks who can just walk across the border and say, I'm here, I have asylum, you have to let
Alex,
fuck them. Okay, that's the first thing. Yeah, fuck them. Fuck them.
Oh my God.
I care about the millions of people who are willing to do the process
Calling someone a
correctly.
dumb for doing what they gotta do.
See, here's the thing, Truth, and this is what the left always does. They always, you take a basic principle, and yes, they're leaving the door to your house open and comparing it to
The country is not.
is a valid comparison. And you saying it isn't is because you know you will get crushed on that issue.
No, because I just
exactly you will get crushed. You leave the door to your house open. Therefore, this street is where
I do allow guests.
reside.
Hold on, do I allow guests?
So if I come in the house, your house, and start eating your food,
If I vet
and
you,
clear you out and take
If it's
your furniture,
secure, yeah.
fine. Yeah, good for you. Well, the rest of us don't do that. And this is what the left does.
It makes us
They
more
take
Christian.
an effort. No, it's not more Christian. You don't speak for Christians. Because
And
the fact
that's what the
is,
Bible
this
says.
is what the left
What I gotta say.
does. This is
Wait,
what
the Bible
left
says to break
does.
the
They
law?
take a basic
What
principle.
page is that on? I
I'm
missed that
gonna
page
land,
entirely.
let me finish. They take a basic principle, like you protect your borders, and then they use the empathy card. Oh, these people, they're so impoverished. Their conditions in their country are horrible. Oh, we have to let them in. And then they argue that not letting them in is a bad thing and that we should do it. No, it's a basic principle. You protect your house, you protect your community, you protect your state, you protect your country. All of those things are in line
Yeah, I don't
and
think
are
that we have to
basic
give
common
those up.
sense.
I don't think we're
You
giving those
don't,
up.
and if you advocate for open borders, that
Immigration's not gonna make the country less
that
safe.
means anybody can come in.
I think that's kind of racist.
You cannot say, well, I advocate for open borders, but secure borders. The two don't coincide.
Yeah, that's actually just not true, obviously.
Well, that actually
No, that's actually true. That's a contradiction.
Because
it's a logical fallacy.
It's not a logical.
It's a logical
You
fallacy.
explain that. I can't
You have an Adam, Eve, or you gotta pick one.
Hold
on, I can't wait for Norm because it's 5 people are replying, but I can't wait for Norm to explain how that's a logical fallacy. Using axiomatic arguments.
Because you open and then you exclude those who you don't want, correct? That's the secure part, right?
Yes, kind of like TSN.
So that's what we're doing now. Yeah, the secure part is,
How's that
if you're not legal, the secure part is, if you're not legal, you don't come in.
Yeah,
That's the secure part.
Here's a quick question. Do you
So it's open, but it's secure.
Wait.
He said, no.
Why are you guys filibustering? You just spoke.
How's it open?
Listen, I'm not replying to 3 people.
We're excluding the
Let me reply to Alan.
and
Right. The people who don't follow the law are criminals.
Okay,
Don't
guys,
want
now
the criminals.
you're just dogpiling and you're adding to it. Come on, I got enough to reply to.
No, you earned a little bit of dogpile.
Look at me for 4 minutes straight.
It's bad, isn't it? Victim card declined.
You got your butt feelings hurt because
Victim
you
card
shouldn't wake up and I called you out.
Victim card
Over here,
declined.
butt hurt. No,
Victim card. I'm sorry, sir. You haven't heard somebody advice on victim card.
You've identified
Your cheerleaders to the side, right? Just to address what you said, right?
Yeah.
It's as simple as this. Are you able to get on an airplane? Yes. Does the TSA check you? Yes. So it's almost like it's secure but open for business. This is too stupid.
That wasn't me, Alan.
You guys got
me.
it. Understand the concept?
Okay, one at a time.
That's an IQ problem, and you gotta figure that out amongst yourself.
That's the personal attack, truth.
That's the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life.
One at a time.
You're going to secure an area, but also allow people inside of it.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, you've identified the problem clearly.
Okay. Truth is very low level. Very low level.
Don't interrupt.
Okay, Norm.
Go ahead. Healthcare doesn't go all the way up. Very low level. You don't know how to use a website.
Norm,
You don't know how to shut up.
Norm, I can't.
You're in this office.
Go for it, Alan.
Yes,
Alan, go for it.
stop it. You've identified the problem clearly. You want secure borders, and if they're criminals and rapists, et cetera, then you would exclude those. Well, under the Trump administration, the secure borders, part of your secure but open borders, includes people who don't apply for the process legally and who just walk across the border or fly in or overstay their welcome. When they do that, they are criminals. We kicked them out. Now, I understand under Biden, he let 20 million people in and said, if you walk across the border, you can stay. Trump is saying no. He's moved that line from what is secure or not secure and what is criminal to not criminal to a different place that maybe you don't like, but the rest of the country and the rest of the world, since immigration has been either number one or number two, the number one or number two issue, according to Pew Research, since 2016. And it's a huge issue in Europe. People are concerned about it. So, yeah, what...
Yeah, but ICE is going over.
But Alan, this is... No, it isn't.
We have a 60... Alan, there's a 62% Trump approval.
Over 50.
They have a 62% disapproval rating, bro.
Yeah, well, except that, when you
That's
look
pretty
at the
bad.
stats, like 70% agree with Trump's policies
No,
with
I
immigration.
think, no, there's legit.
They may not
started
like
hearing about
the way
immigration in the early
ICE is
2000s.
doing it,
But
but
I don't
they
disagree.
like the results.
But what did he say?
They
Bad
don't like
hombres,
the
Alan. He
results.
said bad hombres. They're rounding people up at church and work, bro.
Yeah, well, if they hire
in church if you're a criminal.
too bad for
Being
them.
in church doesn't make you not a criminal.
Yeah.
There's you do realize most Americans are
You
really
got it.
unhappy with the two people. I think it's a 2 or 3. Is it more than 2 that ISIS killed already?
Yeah, and you know how many died under...
I blame the governor of Minnesota and
Yeah.
2026.
Yeah, you know what? People have died because of ICE under every single president. So if it's only 2 under Trump, that means at the end of his 4 years, it'll be 8. Or let's give him another 2, so it'll be 16.
It's February.
It'll be doing much better than Obama did. That's for sure.
It's February.
What's your point about it being February? What does it have to do with anything?
ICE didn't get the hacking and the ramp up until
And the
what?
other thing is the fact that the Trump administration has been sued 50 or 60 times for a whole host of things. And they've all worked their ways through the court. What Trump is doing now, everything is constitutional and it's legal, with 1 or 2 exceptions, like we had the Supreme Court ruling about the tariffs. Okay, well, you know, 1 out of 60. Okay, that just proves, number one, that the branches of government that are independent, you can never scream that the Supreme Court is bought off or it's doing Trump's bidding.
Because of one decision?
Yeah, no, it's got a couple of decisions, but still
I'll meet you there, I'll meet you.
saying it's still not kissing Trump's ass. It's
That's true, I can get
what it
that.
believes is constitutional, and everything that ICE is doing is constitutional. And it is, yeah, it is, and it's not criminal.
When they're asking for papers, that's violating Fourth Amendment.
50 to 60 lawsuits brought by the Democrats. They're holding Trump to the fire. It's working its way through. They've worked their way through the court. It's done. You cannot claim it's legal, and all of the illegal, Trump illegal, administration illegalized. It's all bullshit. It's constitutional. It's not anything new. The only difference is the left is pissed off because they're not in power. That's all it is.
There's some element of truth to that. Look, I don't disagree with everything you said, but I don't agree with the characterization. I think that, yes, we can talk about what happened under other presidents, but actually Obama was getting hella flack from the left. You have to remember, the left it has a significant percentage of, I would argue, more than half. They're like pro-Bernie types, okay? Like, so this is a party that, rejected Hillary Clinton twice. We keep getting characterized, and it's really annoying because it's like, that's not real.
Well, I was on the left truth during Obama.
I'm sorry?
So I know exactly what you're talking about. What happened was Obama, you're right, he got a lot of shit because the left felt, and the progressives especially, felt like, oh my God, we've got a black president. We're going to get all these progressive policies put in. And guess what? Obama didn't do it. Now, I know people on the right feel like Obama was the coming of the Antichrist, but from the left, he didn't do enough according to them. And then when they didn't nominate Bernie, you're right, they were really pissed. And so when Trump was elected, the progressives said, you know what? You either give us all of our policies or we're going to withdraw our support and Trump will win again. And so the left made the deal with the progressives. And no, they didn't get Bernie again, but they got Biden. And Biden did everything they wanted. So, yeah, you're right.
Until they fell asleep.
Until Biden fell asleep. Yeah,
yes,
it's true.
Yeah, and to the point, like I think most reasonable, moderate people on the left, we respectfully disagree with people on the right who are a little more gung-ho about maintaining, certain populations. But I think everyone, even middle America, it was getting pretty crazy. It was getting over the top, and I think most of the country on both sides wanted something done. But I think they've just gone too far. Even if they haven't, which that's just me extending grace, I think they have, of course. The optics are horrible. Like, the rhetoric is a runaway train. This isn't just like he said, she said now. It literally, you have people shooting people and then calling them stupid bitch. There's no way you sell them. That's insane.
Well, he was angry that she got herself killed. I mean, he didn't want to kill her. I mean,
no, the truth is
what they were doing. You call what they were doing in Minnesota respectful disagreement?
No, but
I call that breaking the law.
Of the state. They're not professionals of the state.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because it's about public reaction. That's why I said the optics and the rhetoric is a runaway. What? That matters. Okay, so if people are protesting...
She assaulted somebody with a deadly weapon and got her ass killed.
Got her ass...
She shouldn't have done that. And the governor and the mayor encouraged her to do it, and so did her wife.
I did not see that in the video I watched. I saw her trying to move around him.
Break it down.
I saw her
if she hits him with the car that's not around him.
She was trying to move around him.
You have to wait till the person is out of the way before
he put himself in front of the car.
Well, no, he circled in front of the car before she put her foot on the gas.
Well, no, it all happened in the exact same moment. It was literally...
No, he was circling the car. It's on the video.
I saw the video.
He literally did a 360 around the car.
How we see it for some reason. It's
like
you guys...
on how we see it. It's
yes, the country is split on how we see all this.
No, it's not. It's very clear what happened.
So when you talk to Democrats, what do Democrats tell you about it?
I'm interested. What? It's not a Democratic...
So we don't exist. The country's not split.
Okay. This is a question of fact. She hit him with a deadly weapon. She got her ass shot.
Cool. The difference between you and me, I don't argue opinions. I get it. I get what you believe.
That's not opinion. That's the legal standing. What's the legal standing of an officer's duty with a vehicle?
Bro, I'm not gonna have this art. First of all,
I know, because you can't win.
You proved yourself way too rude to... No, you just started calling me.
I beg you to do this. There's a judge that is on here quite often, and you can go talk to him about it if you'd like. And I bet you, when he's all said and done explaining every aspect of the law, he's going to explain to you this. There will never be a charge in that case.
So real quick, just Supreme Court justices always agree.
True.
Just answer that.
There will be charges in the other one. Not necessarily against the man who first pulled the trigger. It'll be for the man that was hitting the guy in the face with the bear.
Cool. I got you. Do Supreme Court justices always agree? No, right? So what is you telling me you found a judge who has an opinion do for me?
The fact that
I would say it's an attempt to educate you.
You think I can't find a judge who disagrees? Is that what you're betting money on?
It's an attempt to educate you, but you're proving very resistant.
You think I can't find a leftist judge who has an opinion that's stable?
What do you think is an appropriate
He's a gay man.
Verbal reaction to get...
You're thinking it's far right, and he's a gay man.
If you're talking about Brandon, he's not a judge.
Yeah, what do you think is the appropriate reaction to getting someone?
Why do you think you know who or what Brent is?
I think if someone is trying to escape you and they're clearly not a lethal threat to yourself or anyone else, you don't put yourself in front of them and draw your gun. That's all.
Yeah,
I think you probably just let them. I think you probably let them get away, get their license plate, maybe pull them over at their fucking house a couple hours later.
While they're hitting you with the car,
He put himself in front of the car.
he was doing a 360 around the car.
Yeah,
You're allowed to do that. That doesn't mean you can hit him with the car.
No, if you let them get away, if you let them get away, they can hit other people, including innocent pedestrians. So the let them get away is not a valid excuse.
Yeah, you don't have to but let them get away. That's the girlfriend that you already have.
I don't want to be, I deserve to be a mile away.
Empty the clip,
I deserve to
right?
be
Empty the
able
clip
to walk
so
down
they
the
just get away.
street and not have to worry about some crazed protester driving me and my 3-year-old child as I'm walking down the street over because some cop just let them get away.
Really, bro?
She would, yeah.
The only people getting ran over are leftists.
I'm pulling
Republicans run over leftist protesters for fun.
Yeah, it's funny how when the left...
No, but that's actually true.
Yeah, well, actually, see, what happened, Truth, is if you watch the video, when she backs up, it points, at first, he was on the right side of her car, but when she backs up to go, that pointed the car right at him. That was
that's not what I saw.
Yeah, well, you got to, there's multiple angles of it.
If you guys are bored enough, we can watch the video right now.
You can see it on his cell phone video. He literally hit him with the car.
And then she hits him. You hit a police here.
Yo, PTR. Yo, shut the fuck up, Alan. PTR, look at my PTR right now.
Let me make it
see the smoke of the first gunshot. Look at the guy's legs. Look at his feet. Look at the tires of the car.
Yeah.
Tell me how the fuck he got hit with a car.
Yeah.
Tell me how the fuck.
You can see it.
Thank you. Show me. He goes, look at my PTR right now. I pointed this shit out. You see the gun smoke of the first shot.
Here, the car hit him.
Yeah.
Okay, show me how even close. She's not only turning the tires, she's more close than anything.
You understand that she hit him with the car, right? You don't.
No, look, click on my PTR, you fucking idiot. Click on my PTR. Look at the. Because
you're not admitting she hit him.
You can do that. I did this in slow motion.
Yeah.
Look at the car tires. Look at his legs. Look at.
Okay, now you're being willfully ignorant.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, you are, because you know she hit him.
No, she didn't. No, she didn't. In none of the videos did she hit him.
Everybody knows he went to the hospital.
Where everybody is.
Yeah, he went to the hospital.
But the fact is, let me make it easy for you. If you hit a cop with your car, 90%.
You're so stupid.
You will be shot.
Show me how this is even close. Do you know how to click a profile, man? Do you know how to fucking click a profile?
Do you know how to read the fucking law with the gun pump?
I want you to respond. I
don't think he knows how to watch the video.
Show me.
Only watch video. He can't read.
They're just gonna gaslight you, bro.
He had already shot the gun.
Go look at the law.
He had already shot the gun.
That's why
I am close to getting hit.
Because it's like they're never gonna agree, bro. They're never gonna agree.
I am not going to.
We should just agree to disagree, guys. Like, it's not even.
All right, hold on. Let Alan go. And here's the facts. An officer doesn't have to wait till he's struck to pull the trigger. Okay? He has to believe he's in imminent danger, which a car is coming at him or himself, or him or others could be in imminent danger. The lady was resisting arrest. They were trying to get her out of the vehicle. Now,
and they told her,
please watch the video. Watch the video. And
I have the video and the snapshots of it right here.
How many times before that did they let her just drive away? How many times?
Bro,
just answer the question.
We're gonna get a wheel.
It doesn't matter.
Agree. I don't want to.
It doesn't matter about agreeing. I'm asking a simple question that's going to
No, because you're going to be shocked I don't have the perspective you have.
Okay, it doesn't matter if you have the perspective. I have the perspective that the law is going to happen. He's not going to get even charged. This is going to go down exactly.
You're back. You're saying
That's the case of
he didn't get hit with the car. Now you guys are back. Now you guys are backpedaling. He didn't get hit with the car.
He got
No, you're backpedaling. Now you're saying he just needed to think.
Well, no, that's the legal standard. No, that's the legal standard. So you might know.
I don't understand how people.
Concede, you're backpedaling now.
You know,
because
you're conceding you're backpedaling. The fault that
no, I'm not back.
He did not get hit with a car.
He's giving you the legal standard.
Fox News talking point. He did not get hit with a car.
Listen, I've never seen. I don't watch Fox News.
Show me where in any of the videos where he gets touched with a car. Touched.
It's in the video from his point of view.
Per federal law, it doesn't have to be video.
According to the
It's cell phone video.
according to the
If anything, not even.
I beg your pardon?
according to the left, a cop has to be run over, then the person has to back up over them, run
over him again.
5 times
Yes.
before the cop is allowed to shoot.
It's called the rule of 5, Alan. I've heard.
Yeah, that's right. According to them, if you see somebody, if you're a cop and somebody's driving at you, according to them, you don't have the right to shoot at them. That's the problem. That's why you're never going to convince prove that he was just.
No, we don't agree that she was driving at us.
This isn't with you now.
He wasn't just
abnormal.
Well, no, he said my name.
No, he mentioned you to El Norma is what he was doing. That doesn't mean you have to.
You just made a distinction without a difference.
You jump in and interrupt everybody.
I said he said my name.
Doesn't matter. You let him finish.
I didn't cut him off.
You did. You jumped in. Very fast. Let's just truth. Me and you just truth. Can you tell me what the legal standards are for an officer to discharge his weapon?
I don't think he was done. I think we just interrupted his phone. I was just saying a quick little, and then I was off. That's all I was doing.
Well, I want to hear from you guys. Are you guys backing up on the claim that he got hit with a car? Yes or no?
No, we're talking about a legal standard, and I understand you might not understand that, but you have to listen very carefully to what you're saying.
Show me any videos where hit are.
Okay, who said that? Sam? Go look. There's multiple angles. Go look.
Look, I have one of them right here. The clearest one right here. The fact that you can see his feet planted on the ground, the fire pointing away from him, the gun smoke already shot.
Yeah.
This is incontrovertible.
Yeah. You know why?
You're better off making the argument that you could read mine than he thought he was in danger or some shit like that.
Why?
You're better off making that argument.
Because they told her 2 or 3 times, get out of the car. The moment she started backing up, he pulled out his gun because that's the defense against a moving suspect in a car. You're preparing yourself in case she lunges for you. And guess what? She lunged for him.
No, she didn't.
Yeah, so watch
She
the video.
She absolutely did not.
She accelerated to drive away, bro.
She accelerated to drive away.
And you don't get to
drive away. And he does get to shoot her. He
absolutely doesn't.
Yes, he does. If an officer tells you,
I can tell this older guy.
Guys, you guys on the left.
Show me the video when you guys
make it clear.
Now.
Stop
fucking talking like a fucking old slow retard. Show me the video where he gets hit with his car. Just show me the video where he gets hit with his car.
I understand the retard like me being you, because maybe that's who you are, but you don't understand the legal authority of using your weapon.
Like I said, you can make a better case that you could read his mind and he thought he was dangerous. Make that case.
No need to read his mind.
Make that video. Thought he was in danger, even though he wasn't even close to the car, and he just said,
No, she hit him with the gun. That's how close it was.
There's no point. Show me the video, bro.
There's no point.
It's on the video that he's
Did you have the internet?
It's on his cell phone.
I've seen every video. It's only nothing.
So did you see his cell phone video?
Do you know how to slow down the video real quick?
Yes.
Pause and look out.
Yes, it's not even necessary, by the way.
When the first gunshot is fired,
By the way, CM.
You're not close to him.
By the way, CM.
He hit him in the torso, not the feet.
Yeah, and by the way, CM, the legal standard is not a slow down video. It's how the officer perceives it at the time.
Okay, I said make that argument.
Without the benefit of hindsight.
Say that.
It's called ground
lie and say she hit him with a
That's what matters.
Don't lie and say she hit him with a car. Say that.
No, that's not a lie, that's a fact. And it's recorded.
Show me the video where he gets hit with a car.
I told you
the gram test. It doesn't matter whether she hit him or not. The law is the gram test.
That's true, that's the
I wasn't even gonna say nothing until I heard all three of you.
If you really want to understand it, go look at what everybody misses. Go look at the tires spinning on the ice. Nobody gets the fact that the tires spun on the ice. She revved the engine. You don't hear it. When you see the tires spinning on the ice, you go, that's a little interesting.
She was probably nervous, unless.
Obviously.
I thought she wasn't mad at him. How was she nervous? I'm not mad at you. I thought she wasn't mad.
Wait a minute. So this is what I said on the outside, right? Is that, and again, guys, we're probably gonna get right back to it, but I'm just saying, we could have a lot more productive and, in my opinion, interesting and fun conversation debating like ideology and philosophy